Hello and welcome to the Nash Tackle Off the Hook podcast. Today's guest, none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Uncle Jim Shelley himself. Before I go and get Jim, we've got some Nash news with Mr. Danny Omans. Dan.
When you were just saying the man, the myth, the legend, I honestly thought you were going to go, I was about to go, hi guys, it's me again. But nah, Jim is a legend and I'm no one.
You're our version of Jim, mate. You frequented some Cam's pits in your time.
But he catches fish and I just turn up and go, well, this is a lovely day there, so I'll just sit here and do nothing.
But it's nice to actually have you pinned down in the studio because you've been busy recently, mate, haven't you?
Yeah, busy 3 or 4 weeks, yeah. A lot of shooting. Finally. Yeah.
Good to be out?
Yeah, really good. We tried real hard over winter, getting out, doing that old days only thing, trying to get some shoots under our belt, films under our belt, but it was a long, cold winter, tough conditions. And so as soon as people were like, you're allowed to night fish again, we went, bam. And now we've just done, 3 weeks of filming. We've just done 2 different films.
Successful?
Yes, very. So the first one, don't know when it's going to be out, a couple of months hopefully. We're trying to decide whether to launch it this year or next year. We'll see. It's gone straight into the edit. We did a big UK road trip. We thought after the long time of no fishing and being locked down and whatnot, we said, fuck it, we'll go on this massive UK road trip. So we did 10 days, 9 nights. Alan, Ollie, Alfie and Henry, 4 vans, and there was 4 crew there, 4 videographers there. And we went to 6 different venues in 6 different counties.
Of course you did.
Was it 6 venues, 6 counties? Something like that.
Madness.
And a massive mixture of, exclusive booking venues, day ticket, like busy day tickets, little quiet, intimate venues. We went on to a syndicate lake.
Yeah, good spectrum then, mate.
Yeah, a big day ticket complex with loads of different lakes, so everyone could go and do their own thing. Went to Stanwick Lakes and just fished Elston, so everyone was on one lake. Yeah, we did loads of different stuff, covered loads of different tactics, and obviously just had a really good time.
Coming soon. And then you just come off Royston, haven't you?
Yeah, so then we got back from that. I had like a day to turn around, then the weekend, and then straight into another shoot at Royston. This time, drum roll, Danny Yeoman's debut on film.
On film? I thought you've been very adamant in saying you don't want to be on camera, mate.
Yeah. Again, it was scraping the barrel. So basically, it was like we were shooting a social. To be fair, like us boys in the office, we never actually go out and fish for ourselves away from work. We work so closely together, but it's only really those big social shoots that we actually go and fish together. So we were going to do a social up at Royston, close the lake, exclusive booking, and it was a kind of like how to approach an exclusive venue, and just a bit of a nice how to have a good social, like just a few boys having a good social. But it was meant to be Alfie, Tommy, and Henry, who all kind of work in the social media bit now. But then Tommy has gone off took a booking on Home Fen. He's catching a 60 this week. And Alan wasn't available. Mikey was on holiday. Like there was just no one else kind of available. And they were like, Dan, it's not social if it's 2 people. We need a third. So I said, yeah, I'll do it.
That's the start of things to come then, mate. More of Yeoman's fishing on camera.
Do you know what? I always thought like filming people's, it's a tough gig, but I thought it's just as hard to be the angler in front of the camera. You got a graph, you got to work, you're on the, the same time frames, up early, late to bed, working up. Easy.
Piece of cake.
Honestly, like easy. Not like, obviously the fishing's, you got to think about
Don't try and save it now, mate. You just said easy, mate. It's fine.
You get the rods out. I sat down, I was like, what do you do now? And I see the videographer, the 2 lads, Tone and Brad, they filmed the sequence of me putting my rods out and then filmed a few more shots of me sat there. They're like, right, we're going to go around and do a bit of a B-roll lap, get some just, general shots. And I was just sat there like, what do I? Yeah. It's like, what do I do now?
Talent,
I felt
mate.
so guilty that they're like running around working, and I was like,
That'll wear off soon, mate. A few shoots and you'll be fine.
pop the kettle on. Like,
while you're running around, could you just caramel latte, thank you.
yeah, honestly. So yeah, it was good. Like, it was fun being in front of a camera, but I did get a bit like anxious and like sort of twiddling my thumbs. Like, I don't know what to do. But the shoot went well. I think I was all right on camera.
I'm sure, mate. You're good on camera.
We caught a few,
Good.
which was good.
And you've actually been away filming for that long that you've grown a man bun, mate.
This was 3 weeks worth. 3 weeks worth. No, this is triple lockdown. And it is, to be fair, I was on these shoots. I was waking up in the morning like, this is bad. We were on 10-day shoot. I had to shower once. One shower in 10 days. That's disgusting. But like, you can imagine what the fucking Maine was like. I was waking up in the morning like looking like Wurzel Gummidge. And do you know Wurzel Gummidge?
I do know Wurzel Gummidge, mate.
I was looking like that, and so I was just chucking it up in a bun. Blair was rinsing me in that. So, but
I think it works, mate. I like it.
Just to keep the air out of my eyes.
Now you're in front of camera. You've got to come up with a look, mate. That's strong. What I wanted to talk about, Dan, primarily is full-time anglers and the prospect.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I've smashed up Royston. Here I am. Give me a wage, Alan, and I'll do it full time. Yeah, go on.
That at one point, there's probably a handful of people that we know about that have made that a career, if you like. Bringing that into now, obviously you must get messages as well from people saying, I want to make it in the industry. And we always talk about getting another skill behind you to sort of do something within the industry, if you like, videography, marketing, whatever it may be. Do you think now, with the rise of social media, influence, everything else, there's the chance to actually make full-time angling a career?
Absolutely, massively. And you watch in the next 5-10 years, it's going to absolutely boom. Like, that will be a career for a lot of people. And I hate the word, but call them full-time anglers, it'll be influencers. You know how Instagram, that there is full-time Instagram influencers out there. That is their job. It will come into the industry. It already is. Do you know what I mean? There's already people getting paid to go fishing because they're a big influencer on Instagram. Some of the guys with big followings, they get messages from all sorts of different companies. This is a funny one, actually. Everyone thinks Alan's got a deal with Hartley's Jelly, don't they?
Yeah, they
Have you
do.
seen that?
Yeah.
So many messages. All it is my Mrs. Verity, she works for Hartley's, and we just send jelly to Alan's little girls because they love the jelly. And then so Blair's giving it like, oh, I've got a deal with Hartley's, a bit of a joke, sort of an inside joke thing. Everyone's just like, oh my God, he's got a deal with Hartley's.
You've made it.
Yeah.
In the jelly game, you are the top of the tree, boy.
But like, she's on like obviously the Hartley's corporate Instagram.
Yeah.
And that day, so many carp anglers started following Hartley's. It's only got like 1,500 followers, 2,000 followers, so many people. But it's a prime example of the influence that they have. Do you know what I mean? And that is only going to get more and more prevalent. And 100% people, that full-time anglers, they are now. There's a job, and in the next five years or so, massively agree, it will be a career.
What would you say? You're pretty savvy on media. You're a media manager, mate, of Nash, massive company. For you, obviously, it's going to go down that route. If you're somebody that's aspiring to do that as a career, how'd you get there? What do you do?
Work hard. I think that's the biggest thing. I get a lot of messages of people like, how do I be a consultant, or how do I be a filter? Like, there's levels to get up to that. And there's a lot of people who I think will just think it happens overnight, or like, I've made a few videos and I've got quite a good following, pay me 50 grand a year. Do you know what I mean? Like, so to do it, you need to be very good at angling. I think you need to be not very good, but good at photography. Know your way around a camera, because you get so many people say, like, oh, I'm an angler. Why should I be you have to be a professional photographer to get your images posted? You don't. You just need to. It's not hard to watch a few YouTube videos, learn your way around the set. Usually the settings for a camera, it's pretty. You get your base settings in.
Yeah.
Once it's a bit dark, do this, a bit light, do that, and it's half decent image. Learn your way around that, so all your photos are banging. You'll hear Jules talk about it as well, and how to be a consultant. It's just the next level. Write articles, be out, put yourself out there, do the right thing in terms of promoting product and that sort of thing. Like, Jules always says, like, pick the company you want to work for and just buy their gear and use their gear. Don't bother going like, I've caught this fish on sticky, and then coming to Nash and going, I'll say what I caught, whatever you want, I caught it on, sort of thing. Do you know? So doing all that, but also the video is a big thing. You know, one of the best examples is Samir. Samir, when I started here, he wasn't with Nash 6 years ago. And he started as a consultant, little tackle budget, and you can say he grafts, mate. Like, he learned how to shoot video. He learned how to edit. He learned how to take good photos. He put the sacrifices, you know, he was a busy man. He ran this massive business. He put the sacrifices in terms of going out to make this content, filming it, editing it, sending us a video and going, what do you want me to do to it? I'll give him some changes, few tips. He does them. Here's a video. And his profile's gone from, when I first started, a few people knew him, both him and Claire, and now look at them. Yeah. You know, they are full-time anglers.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
And although that's not full-time paid, you know, don't get me wrong, he's worked a hell of a long time, very, very hard to save up the money to give him the opportunity to go and do what he's going to do. But, you know, there will be a time in the next few years where doing what he does, someone who does what he does will get paid to do it purely
just to go and fish.
Yeah, and you know, don't get me wrong, I think all the companies are on the same boat, and they're looking into it and going, yeah, we've got to get wages for these people. And there's a lot of people out there already who they're on a wage, and it's only going to get bigger, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think we can see it. As you say, it's crossover from other industry, mate.
So to sum up, if someone wants to go and do it, you just got to work hard, and you've got to expand your skill set. You've got to be good on camera. You've got to learn how to shoot, learn how to edit. So when you approach a company, or companies will notice you then, rather than getting the company to take the plunge on you and watch you go, you need to have already grown to a certain level to be proficient at editing or editing, shooting, photography, or else the company you're not going to turn anyone's head.
And that's generally how it works, isn't it? Companies tend to approach individuals
because of what we've seen. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So, for example, Jacob London Carper. Yeah. He's been with us like 18 months or so now, but what turned our heads was the fact that he was out there not only fishing and catching good photos, making video of himself, being active on Instagram, and you could see on his Instagram stories now he's very comfortable in front of the camera. He's a very likeable character on camera, and we approached him, and you know he's got a great career ahead of him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, top bloke.
You know,
and I need to get him in.
Yeah, we've had him obviously once before, but like he's done so much since then that he does need to come in. And I think it's kind of gone full circle, because I remember when I first started, the term full-time angler this phrase was thrown around so much. There used to be a few full-time anglers, but it's a thing of the past. You're dreaming. If you're not dreaming, like, that will happen. If you put the graft in, that will happen. Like,
get on the bus now.
Yeah, get on the bus now, because it's gone full circle. I guess 20, 30 years ago, there was a very small group of people who were lucky enough to become full-time anglers. I guess your Terry Hearns and whatnot. It then got so saturated that every Tom, Dick and Harry was a field tester, a consultant, and this, that and the other. And it kind of, I've heard people say it like ruined it for people, because the real diehard anglers who could have been full-time anglers, they didn't really get the chance because it was so saturated. But I think now, and it wasn't really, there was the odd one or two, there was a phase where, you know, it wasn't really a thing. People were like, if you think that's going to happen, you're dreaming. And because of the rise in social media and where everything's going, I think it's gone full circle. And now you'll see a boom of people whose career, if they keep at it and keep evolving with it, will be full-time angler.
Send your CVs to Dan Yeaman at Nash.
If they're good, I'll look. If they're good, I'll look.
Nice. Dan, as ever, mate, thanks for your insight.
Anytime.
I'll let you go and quaff the man.
I'll let it down now. I only did it for the camera.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, do that.
I'll let it down. Yeah.
I'll take a look, mate. Yes. Give you my honest hair opinion, mate.
Because to be fair, that's what I worry about most, how I look on camera.
Yeah, totally. And I'm going to go and get Uncle Jim, mate.
Looking forward to it.
See you in a bit.
Cheers, mate.
Welcome to the Nash podcast. Jim Shelley, how are you, mate?
Fine, thank you, Hassan. Nice to finally meet you.
Thank you very much for coming on, mate. I didn't, if I'm honest, think this day was going to happen.
I did turn you down a little bit, didn't I? I think you played your trump card with Kevin.
I sent in the big dogs, didn't I, mate?
Yeah.
Nash managed to wrangle you.
As we get on fairly well, me and Kevin. So after Kevin sort of not had words but spoke to me, I felt obliged.
Obliged is...
And it's funny how you messaged me the day after, isn't it?
I don't know how these things work, Jim.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
No, but thank you very much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
No.
Let's see how it goes and where we're going to go.
We will. We're going down a few wormholes here, I'm sure, Jim. There's so much to talk about, but where I want to start is you carp fishing and what carp fishing means to you, because you've done it so comprehensively over so many years. Talk to me about what it means to you, your motivations. Just try and summarise that. I know it's not easy.
Jesus Christ. There's so many stop-starts in my life. I suppose where I first started to think about carp, I was at a water in Essex, Marriage's Mill in Colchester, and I saw a carp. And I actually hooked this carp under let's call it like a dam where it goes from freshwater to seawater. But they were living in the seawater. They'd gone over in a flood or whatever. And that, I would say that set the scene. Did you see that? He's got the mic under me even further. We'll have headphones on a minute. And I suppose that set the scene, unbeknowingly to me. And I suppose, you know, you do a bit of this, you do a bit of that, you party, let's say. I was lost a little bit in time, let's say, a bit of a rogue around Bury St Edmunds and always in trouble, let's put it. But I still went carp fishing, yeah. Didn't have a car till I was quite old in life, maybe mid-20s, more than that, to the fact of when I went to Horton, I was being dropped off, so I had to pay for 2 trips in one. Anyway, so it was all on a push bike.
On a push bike?
Yeah, I was just push biking around. Then I got a motorbike, and it was all on a motorbike. Then I got the car. I suppose another big thing, it's hard to sort of understand, remember, realise that these things are all somehow put in your mind, and it's like a bit of a mindset. It's hidden in your head. And it was like, I remember when Rob Malin was doing Big Carp, and then you were seeing the famous 5, and it was like, can I swear, fucking hell, you know, look at them 5 geezers living the dream, partying, drinking, catching big carp. And it was, I suppose, really then I was doing a bit of carp fishing, and then it was like, Christ, they get really big, really big. And maybe we could do both sort of things. So this is where maybe in carp fishing, a bit of this and a bit of that, you know what I'm trying to say?
You got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I actually, after seeing a Big Carp Annual with, what's his name? Peter Springate holding Mary and Mary's mate on the front cover, I just wanted to go there. At some point in my life, I didn't know when, but after some shenanigans at Horton and being reinstated with a free ticket as well by Ian Welsh, who sort of understood the problems I was having. I can't help it, I catch loads of carp and I work like hell, and he actually saw that in the end. And I had quite a good relationship with Ian Welsh of, I think it was RMC that back then, because it's changed its name several times. So there I was at Rasbury. You imagine walking up there and you're looking at, it's one lake, 120 acres, but it's 2 lakes in one. And there was 17 carp max in there. And I'm a no one coming from, well, at that point I'd got out of Essex, and I was in Norfolk, Bury St Edmunds. Then I had to keep moving around. But anyway, I ended up.
I like these like filtered bits here, Jimbo.
Yeah, I know.
it.
I know what you're saying. I don't really want to go down too much
No, of
of
course
the
you don't.
controversial route. So I'm actually there.
So how have you got there? You got the car at this point?
No,
You haven't?
no. So this is the second year of me travelling. And
Just
I'm
notch
there.
that mic up. Sorry, mate. Just notch that mic up a bit, mate. Yeah, perfect.
I'm there. And I've been dropped off with a barrow. And that's how I had to get around the lake. So some of the lake is overgrown. The path is nothing. All my food, basically. That's a lie. About 5 days in, I did hide my gear and walk down to a corner shop and go and get some food.
Right.
But that was about a 3 mile walk, 1 mile walk. I knew in the end I had to get a motor. You know, I couldn't keep relying on people and the cost as well. If you've done it in this day and age, it cost you a fortune.
Mm.
So as soon as I went on a crash course. The last time you could probably pay 250 quid and, you know, basically pass within, I think it's 5-day course. So anyway, I got my freedom, and this meant I could go anywhere I wanted at any time, move around. The first year I was at Rasbury, I did catch a very special. I have a uncanny knack of catching the rare ones or the real beautiful scaly ones. If they were women, it'd be unbelievable.
Why do you think that is, Jim?
Maybe it's because I fish totally different to a lot of other people.
Okay.
You know, not the standard 7-9 inch rig. You know, it's either very, very short or very long. And I try and fish away from other people a lot of the time. To the fact of, you know, on the water I'm at the moment, new members, I move 4 times in 1 day.
Mm.
So I caught this fish and it was called the pug, 30. Do you know what? I can't even remember it. I'm just going to go £38.
Yeah.
Second year, I got a car. So I'm down there and I caught it again. First fish, first 40, year 2000. And then there was some sort of KHV outbreak and Ian Welsh shut everywhere, was shutting everywhere.
Okay.
Because it was close in the Colne Valley. So I spoke to Ian and said, look, can I carry on baiting? Because I'd done a massive baiting campaign with my best friend, rest his soul, Marky Mark. And we were taking it in turns. So he's working. He might do 1 midweek and I'm doing 2 midweeks baiting up. So anyway, Ian said, Jim, you can carry on baiting, but if there's any problems, you can't. You know, like fish are not looking right or whatever. There was none of that problem going on. Anyway, a few weeks later, he's reopened it. So I'm ahead of everyone else. Bait's still going in. I think first, maybe second trip, I caught the one I really wanted, Malins.
Malins, yeah. What
So that was second 40 that year. Same weight as the pug, £40 4 ounce. And then I went on I think it was a 2-week blank. I wasn't there for 2 weeks,
No.
but 2 to 3 sessions. And then I smashed out Merrig. And it was like, bloody hell, I've now... Them days, people are turning around and saying, well, you've got to leave.
Yeah.
And what you've got to remember of today, you know, you haven't got many waters back then with all of these carping. So you've got maybe 4 or 5 40 pluses in Rasbury. There's not many lakes like that in the country, and special ones. So I said, what my good friend Steve Alcott, he was like, there's no fucking way, Jim, you're fishing Mary zones, because he knows, you know, once you caught it, you don't want to catch it again, and he knows I'm a bit deadly. So I swore I wouldn't fish a Mary zone. Anyway, with using a boat, this allowed you to like monitor areas, and especially out of bounds in islands, central islands. There's a couple of places they like to get, and it's like their home. They hide up, and some of them you'd go and the back of 10 Acre Island, walk through, and it was like I could take you, and I took mates would come, and you'd be looking at like most of the stock in an aquarium on an island, and you'd sit there feeding them. You know, I've got some of the shots, which was in my first book, and I just used to sit there with a chicken tikka sandwich, like just watching. Honestly, and I'm still like that today. I love it's not. Yeah, I love catching them and holding them and all the rest of it, but to actually watch them in their own environment and they don't know you're there, and then you finally catch one or catch that carp you want. But Mary's mate was hanging around there a lot with a carp called the Hoover, and the pug was there a lot, and it was like, but no Mary. I only saw Mary in there once. So I said to Steve, I'm going to be fishing around that area. No known captures of Mary off this point. So I've got to apologise before I say this. Bloke called, I might say his name wrong, Dave Harmon, something like Harmon, I think his name. He's an all-rounder.
Okay.
Anyway, he was fishing around this point, targeting eels and tench.
Right.
So he come along, hello Jim, how you doing? I wanted to fish here tonight. Anyway, there was two swims, sort of facing one to the right, one to the left. So I said, all right, look, I'll go on the left, you go on the right. Is that all right? Yeah, that's where I've been fishing. So my fishing wouldn't interfere with, and he wouldn't interfere with me. So I'd already towed mine out, but there was a spot I was monitoring at about, let's say 90 yards. It could have been 100. I don't know. It was around that sort of distance, but it was up on the shelf of the island. And I put half baits and crumb on it, and I noticed it got slightly like there was a rub mark on a piece of clay. And what I'd done to actually find carp, when they're like touching an area, they like to clear stuff away so you don't see no leaves, sticks. I actually placed sticks. I pulled some sticks what were off the bottom of the lake and placed them on there. So I put a couple of maybe 6 whole boilies there this time, and mimicked a little bit of crumb and chopped boilie, but it was minimal. So it was just like, but there were whole boilies this time. Anyway, I went there the next day, totally trashed. Right, opened up, and I went, parked my boat, went through 10 Acre Island. Mary's mate's in there. I thought, Christ. I watched, she disappeared. I was on there for hours watching, disappeared just before dark. So that's why I'm on that point. And I placed my rig maybe an hour before dark. But with the 4 ounce leads I used to make, or 4.5 ounce flat inline leads I used to make years ago, it wouldn't hold bottom because it was like a cliff face.
Right.
So what I've done is in my oar, there's a plastic end part, and I actually pushed it in there with some, I mushed a load of boilie up in my mouth and then fixed the lead in it, and then I pushed it into the bank. So I'm fishing everything tight, so all you're going to do is get a drop back. So anyway, Dave's had, I think, tench that night, no eels. Sitting there, and I've just put the kettle on, the rod just goes bleep, and it's tight and shake like this. And I go, "Whoa." Dave goes, "You're in?" And I go, yeah. I'm in. Jump in the boat, go straight out there. I thought, I've got a tench.
Yeah.
I didn't have a fucking tench, mate. As I got over it, the fish had dropped back straight in a weed bed, okay, and it's locked up. And you imagine there's 2 more I want, but I want Mary's mate because it completes that set of carp I saw on that big carp annual. Anyway, this fish is known to actually go ballistic, like an hour fight and all of this, towing you everywhere. So I've got my net in play. I've got my life jacket on, of course, and as I go over the spot, it just comes up and I just put it in the net. And it's just like this, like a marlin in the net. And there's Mary's mate. 43 pound 4 ounce.
No big fight, straight out there.
Apart from in the net.
Mad.
And you just think, Christ, how did I do that? I stayed in that. Steve goes, "You ain't staying no more. You're not staying no more, Jim."
I've done it.
So anyway, I had one of the funguses that next morning called Baby Mary. But one thing I must remember before I did come back was the party scene is epic.
Before we go on to parties, what I want to know from you on Rasbury you've gone on there, you've started, if you like, trying to pen this image that you've seen of these two mega fish, Mary and Mary's mate.
Mm-hmm.
How baiting wise, you said you and Marky Mark had something going. What were you putting in, and were you concentrating it in certain areas, and what areas were they, mate? I'm testing your memory bank here, Jim.
It's not that we were baiting the whole bloody lake.
Were you? Big quantities around?
Yeah. You know, and I was basically rolling it because I used to roll bait. You know what I mean, don't you?
Yes.
So I was rolling it as well.
Yeah.
Not just for me and Mark, other people.
Yeah. And
it was like tails up, private liver. And it just went mental. But you imagine the start of the season and some of the fish started coming out and you weren't in the right area where you've been baiting. But you can't do nothing about that. But within weeks, like I'd already caught pug for the second time, Malins, Mary. I mean, you imagine catching Mary. Like,
no,
we haven't even covered that one. It's
we're definitely gonna. But for me, just I've been there now, right? I was never there at the time when it was one lake, but just to go there now and see the sheet of water that you're talking about and envisage 17 carp.
If you were lucky.
Yeah, there's so much variation in depth. It ain't a shallow bowl everywhere. Do you know what I mean? There's so much broken, fragmented parts of it.
But hold on, Hassan. They could have been in 80 acres or 40 acres.
That's what I mean. It's just as a task, how you go about that. You've obviously got your boat to be able to look.
That was second season.
That was second season. For first season, what do you do? How do you even
Just
start
walk round. So it was like 2.5 hours to walk round without even looking. You know, real looking. So if you've done 2 circuits in a day, you've done exceedingly well. And you can imagine how many miles you've walked, how much time and effort, and no fishing.
Yeah, that's
boat makes it a lot different.
Yeah,
and I that's when I had done boat work before at Norfolk Water. Nothing serious, but I knew how to use a boat. I knew how to creep up on carp. I knew what I was looking for because I can remember Bill Dawson asking me this question, and like I told you just now, I learnt these sort of things by watching carp in Norfolk.
Talk to me about what you're looking for there.
Right, it could be clay, for instance. You know, you watch a clay spot or a chalk spot, and it might have some dirtiness over it, like a crust. Then you'll see it clean, and I mean without bait. You must have seen carp yourself covered in clay. Well, they're getting that from somewhere. Anyway, you'll then look at that spot and see a big gouge in it where it's flanked on it. It's not dorsal, it's peck's gone through the clay or the chalk and made that mark. You get into the real nitty gritty things of like a graveyard of snails, zebras, snails laying there. Then you see silt all puffed up, and you know, then you can work out areas where the weed is. That when you can imagine they're digging in the clay and you get like a cloud, and you get like a settlement, and for maybe a day that'll sit on there, and you just like actually look at it, and you might put a stick down and touch it just to see how much sediment. Do you know what I mean? It is bizarre, mate.
That's proper in-depth observations though, mate, isn't
it?
But you're saying there, you've looked at those things. That's your sort of your location, if you like. But then you're baiting in every area that you see some sort of potential. Was there any specific?
It weren't like mass baiting one spot. You know,
that's what I'm trying to get at. You weren't.
It's like a little. You might put 20 down and count to 20, and there might be 5 left or whatever, or they're gone. But it's keep topping a zone up.
And it was just boilie, or did you introduce particle as well?
No, just boilie. I'm really just a boilie angler. And then just sort of you're waiting for it to come right, and then you're waiting for the harvest of it. You're going to harvest it. I mean, Rasbury was really, really, you know, I didn't do. I suppose if I said to you I've done 130 nights in a year, that's a lot to a lot of people, but to me it isn't. Back then I didn't really care. I'd done what I wanted. But when you're chasing just a handful of carp, in reality, that's nothing, because you can talk to some very, very capable anglers It's not, I'm not going to name names, and caught nothing. Even when the new ones went in there, a couple of fish, and that was heavily stocked with the red Mars going in there.
Yeah.
I suppose at one time, I went to Scottish Stockies. I don't know what could have been in there, 60 carp, something like that. And you've got people, this is years down the line, you talk to them, can't catch them. And then you see people like Tom Anderson go on there and trawling them.
Yeah. That's an incredible set of skills. I just think it must be within you to be able to understand. As I'm thinking, I go on there. I've not done much boat work before. You've done a little bit in Norfolk Lake, you said. But you go onto that prospect, and it is certainly not one you could have infinite amount of time that you can actually achieve. But you've achieved it relatively in a short period of time there with those captures. You said something interesting about when you're going to harvest that spot. So for you, if you've been baiting areas and a spot's ready for harvest, what are the indications of that?
The best way to actually put it is it's totally been cleared off, and it's like someone's put a pitchfork in there and dug it over.
Right.
There's nothing left. If you're watching it in your head, you've got a mental picture of what that spot once used to look like. And let's just say it could be that big, but by the time it's finished, it's the size of this room. And it could be 2 foot deeper, depending on what the bottom is. So let's get to the Mary capture, because this is a good one.
Yeah.
I was always dodging a swim called Mary's Point, purely because out of respect for Steve Alcott, when he does his one night a week, that's where he likes to go. Anyway, these fish were hanging around here a hell of a lot, and the second capture of that pug was from that area, but not off the table. Anyway, I kept monitoring the table.
The table, what's the table?
They called it Mary's Table. It's just a feeding area.
So there were areas that were known about that people talked about.
Sometimes, they weren't on it all the time. You look at it, it's black. Yeah. And then another time you come across it and it was like glowing. Just things had changed. Just like by that mental picture you got in your head. And anyway, I phoned Steve Alcott up because, I've got to know Steve from day one. And I'll never forget when I met him, he come round with a rod holder on his shoulder, walked round the North Lake to me. He says, I know who you are, I'm only going to check you once. I'll see your ticket. And ever since then, we've been great mates, but I would say we're really friends,
Yeah.
It's I speak to him every week and all the rest of it. So I rang him up at home. I said, Steve, look, there's an area on that thing I need. And he said, Jim, do what you need to do. It's not my swim. So anyway, I baited it up. I didn't fish it that trip.
Right.
But I dropped 5 kilos of boilies on it.
Where was
from the boat?
What sort of area was it? Because I'm guessing he's baiting Mary's Table, is he?
Yeah, I was baiting somewhere slightly different. Anyway, how do I approach this one? I did have a long-term, not wife, girlfriend.
Right.
So I did go home occasionally in the end.
Back to Norfolk?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the end, I went fishing to get away from it all, you know what I mean? So, anyway, I went home and I'm back fishing again, right? I've got to pick up some bait from Jim Rawcliffe for Tails Up when he used to own it. And, but I've got the boat out, I've checked the spot and it's just like done over. It's like they've just been there. I can tell by the water was clear, but the sediment in the water, the weightage, there was no bait. It was like someone had put a drag line across it. They had totally and utterly obliterated it. So I had to then drive to, is it Kingsbury in London? It's not far, but you're worrying if someone else comes along, they're going to find this pot of gold. And I knew I'd be away for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I hid the boat round there, but not in front of the swim, but nearby. And I drove over there and anyway, when I got back, the wind had changed and it was blowing. I think it was a southeasterly at me. I only fished 2 rods back then, unlike today where I can fish. I like to fish 4, legally. And no, there was no snides then either.
Okay.
Put the rigs down. No show, but it looked prime. I didn't put loads of bait down there. It was a big square inline lead of one of mine it was polished inside. And this is something I'm thinking about doing now, so I'm letting the cat out of the bag a bit here. It's a running lead on lead core. So you pull the lead core really tight.
Okay.
So it's not got no rough on it. Really tight. Okay, you stretch it. So it's when you put it with the polish, you've got an 8mm bead, and then I use a Drennan ring. They're about £50 test as my swivel. Tie the hook link on. So when they pick the rig up, the big lead just runs away from them. And because it's polished with a stainless steel pin, there's no plastic inside, straight on lead.
Through.
And you just like polish it. As soon as that moves, it's running. And as they back off, it's gone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I put that rig out there, dropped it down. I did put 2 there, but I was more worried about there was one particular spot that had, as it was going down the shelf off the area, it was like slightly dug in, like it was being worked, and it just kept pulling me. So I put the rig there and I'm sitting there. Yes, okay, I did like a drink, let's put it. The White Lightning days, but there you go. It was all part of the fun and games.
Yeah.
Just sitting there, rod's gone. Just gone 2 hours after putting it out.
2 hours, yeah.
15, 17 carp in the lake. My problem was it'd gone round an island. I had to put the rod down, get the life jacket on, get the boat, which was round there. I'd put it round the side. Got out there, and if you can imagine, it's like basically the British record carp, isn't it? At that point.
It's the one, isn't it?
Yeah. And I saw the little maggot scale on its side, and it's like, I'm going to have to swear again here. Sorry, people. It's like, fucking hell, I shit myself.
Yeah.
It's round the island, and I thought, this is going to tow me around. It's a very powerful fish, just from mates of mine who've caught it, and I've listened and read stories and all the rest of it. So I've actually put the rod down, right, and just let it go on 25 pound maxima, and then moored up on the island, and then commence battle. And you imagine playing that, and you're probably a 20-minute battle, and you're attached to the ultimate prize, or one of the few in the country at that time. And I'm a no one, come from Norfolk, and I'm catching their fish. And I know this is going off tangent a little bit, but if you can catch them from your area, the biggest carp, like Norfolk, 35 pound, you can catch 55 pound. You've just got it's the travelling that's involved. But anyway, I put this fish in the net after a mental battle. And
so you fought it from the island? So you stood on the island?
Yeah. And you imagine that moment, all that hard work, that's second year, and I've caught them all now, apart from cluster. And I'd even caught one of the other ones, rare ones, free scale. And you've got that. And Ian Welsh wanted to have a look at it for some reason, because I always spoke to Ian quite a lot, kept in contact with him. And there was a no sacking rule.
Yeah.
And he gave me permission to sack it, and he was straight down because he's only like Thorpe Park. So he was there within half an hour. And anyway, we've done, you look in the book, the whole picture, the gathering was there. There was all these people, and Mary was mine at 52.12. And, when you think back to them days, it's like, Christ, where's it all gone? How many adventures have you had? But getting to that part of where you turn around and said the driving that, I think I'm bloody worse.
Are you now?
Yeah. Because my best friend, my partner in crime, my drinking buddy, my, the one person I could rely on above anyone else, Mark Shave, who drowned at Rasbury, and the other Mark, God rest their souls. I decided that every fish I caught is for them. So each time it's a bit like, we don't want to dwell too much on the negativity in carp fishing and some of the bad press I've had, but me holding a carp up is my two fingers. you know, and that is the way how I get through it now.
Mm.
I just want to catch these special old carp.
But on there, you said that every capture, I mean, they're significant fish anyway. It makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up just hearing you play that fish from an island and the significance of it. But even more so, the fact that obviously there's that chapter with Marky Mark on there.
Mm.
For you, when you actually landed Mary,
Mm-hmm.
what were your first thoughts when that's in the net, mate? What do you do?
You do think, you know, you're from nowhere.
That's what
I'm
I mean.
a no one. You know, I still think I am a no one, you know, and that's the way I like to be. I hate even saying the word. It's like legend and all of this. And I don't look at myself like that at all. It's just, I'm just an angler that goes about his business.
Did you ever think you were going to catch it?
Maybe.
It was a maybe.
Yeah, it's 50-50 in it. You don't know what scenario could be like dealt, hand dealt, could you? You know, death. That happened later, didn't it, when it got cooked in the sack?
Yeah.
We don't want to go down that route either.
No.
You just don't know. It's tethered up. It might die of whatever.
Yeah, it's out of your control.
Yeah, so I would have liked to have thought I would catch them all. But, you know, when you look at cluster, I went back for cluster because Mary was gone. And I only done one trip and I was on cluster. She was massive, real massive. But the new carp that were put in there, the Scotty Stockies, smashed her up, opened her up, her belly, as they took her down and spawned.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that.
Rig-wise, Mary, everything you said there, you talked about your lead arrangement, but in terms of your rig, what were you on?
So hardcore, it was a joke, mate.
Really?
Yeah, just a knotless knot.
Yeah. What sort of hook length material? Because Rasbury's snaggy as well, mate, isn't it?
We used to use this hook link. It was green. It was called Stren.
Get on the strand.
And it was 20 or 25 pounds.
Okay.
And then we were talking about, I think I was talking to this, definitely Steve and Oz Holness, the size 11 Maruta Kinruis from the
size 11.
Do you remember that? And then it was like a 4 pound maximum hair on it, 3.5 inches. And wafter, you'd call that, but
Yeah.
don't do it anymore. I just used to call it a balance bait. So the hook would sit down and then the hair would go up. So as it entered the mouth and they tried to blow it because they got to slightly shut their mouth to create the vacuum to blow it.
Yeah.
The long hair would hold it in because it's semi-stiff. And you just used to nail them around there.
So essentially it's sitting with on the bend of the hook.
It's like a K.
Yeah,
Did they call it a K?
KD, yeah.
KD, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But it weren't made out the same material. It was like a braided hook link and then a maxima
hair.
4 pound hair, yeah.
And the hair was coming off near the eye, or
On the
down?
spade.
Or on the spade. Oh, on the
They
spade.
were spade ends, weren't they?
Ends. I didn't even know that, mate.
Yeah.
Spade ends.
Mm.
And then in terms of bait, you said it was tails up and a liver bait, wasn't it?
Yeah, private liver.
What a couple of captures, mate. And all your fish in Rasbury were on that bait?
Do you know what? I think so, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's some angling, mate.
The parties, mate.
Yes, we were going to talk parties, mate. So talk to me.
God.
Because that's pretty iconic on there. There's the shenanigans about cars getting broken into and all that sort of safety
that
side.
sort of thing did happen, mate. It, you know, but it wasn't maybe as bad, but...
Any strange goings on, you remember?
We don't call them a P word, we call them... I think a good word to call them is travellers. You've just got to respect they're there and they've got to make a living, ain't you? If you leave your gear, then you maybe got to pay the price. You know, if you don't leave your gear, you're all right. Yeah, well, I think so. I only had one. They tried to... What were they nicked a case of white lightning. That's all they took, but that cost me a window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never had no gear nicked, apart from a case of white lightning. So they were obviously thirsty, weren't they?
Obviously.
But you got the Percy, ain't you? The pub. Now,
Yeah.
I wasn't into the pubbing thing then, but what you got to remember, we've got an accumulation of a story from back in the day, haven't we, Steve? All got famous five, partying, big carp fishing. So anyway, we get dragged down there. Well, this went on for 18 months.
Oh.
I don't mean like, it was.
Was it every session?
It's like, look, I took Gary Newman down there, who worked for the Anglers Mail, right?
Yeah.
And I said to him, right, I was out of control then. I just like, you know, I just said, look, when you go in here, you don't talk about anything that's spoken about, like from good to bad or whatever. And the nights you'd have people like Dave Mallin, Steve Alcott, Terry used to pop in for half a pint.
Yeah.
Willie Landit, Marky Mark. Sometimes there was 30 people come from all the lakes round there. You imagine that like you couldn't even do that now.
No.
And it's like then, because there was a thing going on then, like the Carp of the Year.
Yeah.
It was always between me, Terry, and Dave Mallin, and it was always swapped. That was when it was worth. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't say it like that, but maybe that's when it was worth being Carp of the Year, unlike today in my book. And I remember one time, we were all in a line. It was like I'd won it that year. I think Terry was second or Dave was. Anyway, there was all three of us. I'd got it. I was the one that had won it that year. Let's say it was Terry and Dave second and third. And we're all sitting there at a thing. And the respect we had for each other was like unbelievable. You know, in fishing and in there. And it doesn't seem to really be like that these days. It's maybe we don't want to go down this route too much, but I think social media, even though I'm part of that, has
changed it.
Yeah, that's the best. I like that word. Changed it. Yeah.
The scene you started to talk about there, everything centered around the pub. What sort of stuff went on?
There's things I could tell you now, mate, right? I'd incriminate myself. Yeah. I don't know how far I could get in trouble.
Don't put the...
Do you know what I mean?
It's like mad.
Oh, man, you don't know what might happen. I can remember one of the blokes, right, waking up in a hammock in someone's $1 million house garden, like against the River Thames. I was like, where am I? How the hell did he even get there? And we started at the Percy, then we've gone to the Indian, and then he's ended up in a hammock.
That's quality, mate.
You know, you just didn't know what would happen.
That is a completely different
I can remember Cockle jumping back, and you know them concrete bollard things in the road? Well, he thought he could do a ballet across them, didn't he? Well, you know what happened, didn't you? Squashed his nuts. He did have kids, though.
Job done.
But they were a bit, he did say they were a bit black and blue.
Oh, yeah.
So he's walking a bit like John Wayne. But you imagine thinking you can do that.
Yeah, you're in a...
Holding onto cars when they're going past, being dragged along.
What?
Mate, it was just unreal. If you had social media then and a camera, mate, it'd be epic.
Epic. You'd all be... you'll be banged up, mate. It wouldn't be epic.
Had the police after us before.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
Police helicopters. Well, I can't really...
For just general shenanigans centred around the old pub.
There was a bit of a chopping up one night.
A chopping up?
Yeah.
And not in the Indian? No. That doesn't sound great, mate.
You know, you'd be in the Indian, right? And like me and Marky, you're in the Indian and you take like, you know, we were out of control. We drink a case of White Lightning a night. It was brilliant. I'd be up in the morning, first light, they couldn't believe it, watching bang for carp. But we go in the Indian and we've got our pockets full of White Lightning. We're just sitting there like, buy a pint and then just sitting there tipping it in.
I don't know how you can function as such a carp angler when you've got that going on. That just...
Can't do it now.
No. But
Can't
back
do it
then,
now.
that is some polar extreme, isn't it? Pub scene meets big carp top end scene.
Yeah.
Mad.
And it was, you know, when you get people like the do-gooders in life, you know, oh, you'll regret that. And I'm telling you now, no regrets at all. It was a mega part of life. You know, some of the very best carp fishing I've ever had.
Yeah.
You know? And,
I mean, that is special, full stop. Those captures, you could have just caught the pug and that's enough. The fact that you've caught that, Mary, and then Mary's mate.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Mallin's in amongst them.
Yeah.
And that's another pretty iconic, well, they're all iconic fish out there.
You know, and you imagine, like, you know, you're still friends with some of these people. You know, I still keep in contact with Dave Malin, Steve Alcott all the time. I was talking to him on hands-free coming over here,
Yeah.
you know, for an hour.
That's mad, isn't it?
You know, and you're still friends with him now.
For you on there, obviously, Marky Mark and that incident, how did that affect you? Because that is heavy, mate.
I mean, the only way I was lucky, I'd come out of a black zone, a different person. Like stopped drinking so much. And when I did meet Jane, who I would say has put me on the straight and narrow somewhat, even more so, I've calmed right down now. But I can remember we were at Waveney at Christmas, or over Christmas, in between Christmas and New Year. I got a call from Marky's girlfriend, Ruth. Is Mark with you? I said, you know, he's at Rasbury. Oh, I can't get him. I spoke to him, you know, when he was boating across with the other Marks going down the pub. And all they were going down for, you know, was a couple of pints and a meal. It weren't no session or nothing. Anyway, and he said he'd ring, and it was just the next day, nothing. And I just had this feeling. I rung. Look, even if he'd done something savagely wrong, he would never not pick the phone up to me.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I knew something had happened. And then, can't remember this bloke's name. He phoned me and he said, I've just seen a load of markers all popped up. And I went, oh, fuck's sake, here we go. Thank you, do me a favour, reel their rods in now. Should maybe not say this, but I'm not going to lie, you know, about things like this. This is maybe what we used to do and stuff. That was all sorted. And then they went in there that night, they pulled one out, the other Mark. Then they got a call, a little girl had drowned in a river. Jeez. And because it's running water, they left Mark in another 2 days. I didn't get him for another 2 days. So I sat on the route nightmare looking to the area as they pulled him out, because I drove down there from Waveney. And that's when you realise how short life is. And we went back. I had Jane with me in the car, trying to keep me calm. And we got back to Waveney, and I just sat in the shower. I bought a bottle of wine. I had a drink because I decided to give up drinking for 6 weeks.
Was this a decision before? Okay.
Yeah. It was just, I stopped drinking. That's another story about an ex-husband, but we don't need to go down there, do we?
No.
Because I was on the point of, I wanted to cut, you know. So I needed a sound, be of sound mind. So I bought a bottle of red wine and I sat there and looked at it and I said to her, I really want to drink this. She said, well, I'm here, drink it. And I said, if I go down this route now, I'll end up killing myself. So I sat in the toilet, no, not the toilet, the shower in the Carp mobile place we were staying. I still had my rods out. And I don't know how long I was in there running cold water over myself, trying to calm down. But at some point I did, but I never drank that bottle, and I never drank again for 2.25 years. But, you know, I think we all know, especially when you get older, you know, life's like a bit on a knife edge, isn't it? You don't know when you're going to go and all the rest of it. So when you lose someone really special, you know, he was special, real special.
Yeah, mate. So, that's not easy. And it's, for you, I think about, I know it's part of the scene, but the lifestyle before, like you said, drinking, that sort of crazy side, balance with the carping, significant events like that at a relatively young age.
I didn't know anyone who died.
That's what I mean. You can go either way.
It proper killed me. You know, it knocked me for 6.
So you could have gone the other way, mate, quite easily.
If I didn't know Jane, I know I'd have killed myself. And I know it's easy to say that, but it's proper. It is proper. It's the truth.
Yeah. I don't doubt it, mate.
So she saved me, and she probably saved me in the long run, because at times I'm not going to say I'm white and white, but I was out of control.
Yeah.
I just like the scene.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
weren't no drugs or nothing. I've never done drugs. Drink, yeah, let's do it. You know, still like a drink now.
Yeah.
It's like when I leave here, can't wait to get home, cook a barbecue for her, and have a gin and tonic.
Yeah, nice,
You know?
mate. Nice. What a chapter on there. And you said you went back.
Yeah, I went back because like Mary died,
Yeah.
and it left the biggest fish cluster, which I hadn't caught, which had been out at £48, and I'd got a message from one of the boys that it was massive. So,
Did you see cluster?
well, like I said a little while ago, I was actually on it, and I caught a £10 male tench that trip, and I was going back, and then I got the noose. I'm pretty sure Alan Welsh found it and buried it.
Right.
So I didn't have nowhere else to go, but I did. I'd forgotten I'd got a Conningbrook ticket. So
The Brook.
I went straight to Horton,
Yeah.
and I sat there and like I can't remember if I'd done a night or we had a party in the lodge because that was quite.
Horton Lodge, was that the place?
Yeah, that was
Another good.
that was quite a good place to be at times. Even though I was on a lot of people's hit list, but as Ollie Davis turns round, he says, "Your ticket's fucking Teflon coated." They were told they couldn't cut my ticket or nothing. Couldn't touch it. Couldn't take it off me. Couldn't say nothing. No, absolutely nothing. So I was protected.
Fair play.
So nothing could happen. And there was people gunning for me.
Why was that? Just because you're the character you are? Because you caught stuff? Because of jealousy? What?
I mean, there was one time I was with Jane then, so I was travelling. You imagine, like from Lowestoft to Horton, 150 mile. So it's around that, isn't it? 140 mile, just for a day session. And then if I didn't catch one, I'd stay the night because I wanted to get back home. So you imagine, got on the plateau, and it's all kicked off in the thing of catching. I can't remember if it was. I caught 13 or was it 14 carp in a day and a half.
Right.
Up to 44, and it was the one I wanted, the parrot. And then people were then saying I was fishing for spawning carp. You know, and people were going, well, it's not true. I was there. Do you know what I mean? I think 9 or 10 of them are 30s. You know, if you had that in a year, you would like top rod.
Yeah.
In a day. And that's when you get on like, the power of the salt. Actually managed to put salt in the week before. I was spomming it out. No, we didn't have a spom into it. It was a spod. Spodding it out with pellet.
Yeah.
And then I managed to get back in there the following week. I only put it out randomly. And then that produced that from that.
What a hit that is.
But
then you get that whole jealous. Well, not. Yeah, it is jealousy, really, isn't it? You've caught.
I don't know.
It's difficult.
I don't know what it is. I think it's an accumulate. See, I don't look at myself as a good angler at all. I know I catch carp.
You don't look at yourself as a good angler?
No, not like some people's eyes. I could go, fuck me. If we take Steve Alcott, for instance, 18, 20 hours a week, and he's caught what he's caught, yeah. If he had my time, well, he could do it if he wanted. I keep telling him he needs to flipping retire. He'd be deadly, you know, absolutely savagely deadly. I am his, what would you call it? If he wants to know about anything, or I sort of test things out for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you've got the time and you're there.
Yeah, you know, put things in my head. It's like loads of things over the years that have happened like that. But Steve's always, you know, he's always been there no matter what. I can remember, Christ, he's even fixed my car. He's gone back up north and fixed it for me. You know, there ain't many, you know, I have to be careful when I say he's not a mate, he's a friend, close friend. So, you know, you sort of...
On one hand, you can count them.
Exactly. Yeah. So I got a Conningbrook ticket. Let's get back onto that one. Now, you know, you hear all the rumours of it's really hard for the natural, low stock again.
Yeah.
But the biggest carp in the land, 60-pounder.
Is that why you went to Collinbrook? Just because of two-tone and the fact that it was a 60-pounder? Or was it maybe the challenge of a similar type of water to Rasbury?
It was more target fishing then, back then, you know, you sort of like chase these fish. But I remember I did have a personal target, and that was I wanted to catch 10 carp over 40 pound in that 10, because 10 carp, to catch 10 carp over 40 pound back in the, you know, year 2000 onwards it was a big thing.
Yeah. And
I wanted like to catch Mary, then to catch two-tone, and then to catch the black mirror in that 10. So now I've got one target down. I've got the next target. Anyway, we're going to get on being Steve's guinea pig again. He'd put onto me that spring when I was fishing Vendraton, like salt, and then the carrier. Then we were all like to use was aniseed pigeon conditioner.
Okay.
By the Haves one. There is better, not better ones, cheaper ones that are it's good. Anyway, it was all about how much you put in. So I just come straight from Fen a few days via, because mate, I was travelling even though I said I was at Horton, I'd been to Fen for a look. I can't remember if I'd done a night or just looked and then drove back to Horton. You know, if you had a GPS on me, even now it'd be like off the Richter scale. Anyway, I got there and I had an idea of where I wanted to fish because I knew someone had caught it from this area, and he'd roughly explained. I can't even remember. Is it Joe's Point? Maltese Joe's Point, something like that. Anyway, I looked across on the car park and I thought, it looks clear over there. It's about where it is behind his house. So I took the long way round, but the long way round gave me knowledge because no disrespect to Lee Jackson and that, but I heard they were all fishing the little hook, the nylon hook link, the little, you know, the long hook link, little lead scenario. Hello. A lot of the time I wouldn't. That's where the arrogance part come from, where I don't want to fraternise till I know people. I'm like it now. Life's too short. Even like it's worse now.
What do you mean? You don't want to give people the time?
No, because all they want to do is talk about carp fishing, I should do, and all the rest. It's bad enough on the flipping phone. I mean, at the moment, I've done, I reckon, 300 messages since I've got a Sipography new hunt series going to go live tonight.
It's a great series, though, isn't it, mate? It is. Big love, Elliot. Great work, boys. It is good.
Yeah, well, Elliot has, and the boys have brought me out of my shell, I suppose, but that's another story. Maybe we'll come to that in a minute. Anyway, I clocked these. You can imagine, oh, fucking hell, he's here. You could just tell by some of them, they look round. Oh, no, shit. You can imagine, like, they're all like, I got round there and I had a tin of White Lightning had been in a call box. It was flipping cold. It was June, a couple of days before my birthday. And I got all the way round the lake. I stood in the swim. And I was just about to crank it open. And a carp, by the shape of it as it come up to the root of the tail like that, just a friendly mirror. And I thought, jackpot. And I just screwed it in the ground. That's my swim, like that. That's mine. I'm there. So
what
didn't
a
even
swim
drink
marker,
it.
mate.
So I went round there, unloaded the old Escort estate, buckets and buckets of particle, right? So anyway, they don't have bait there, do they? You know, they're carp. All things live. Okay, they're living on snails and whatever. Yeah. But come on, don't give me that 60-pound carp. You give it, and I was going to give it something it probably never have.
How much did you have with you?
Probably in the car, that 80 kilo.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just about to give those carp their first ever salt bath. So we only had these little spots. And you can imagine, right? got no one along that bank, and there was a couple over there. And I started to put the mark. I found this area, it was just like glass, 25 yards out. So anyway, Two-Tone hadn't been out since Lee had caught it. I can't remember if it was October at British Records. 61 pounds, 7 ounces or 8 ounces. Anyway, got this out there. My rods were ready to go. And I suppose I spotted for, how long would 20 kilos take? With a little thing, but several hours.
Yeah, a while.
So I was careful the seeds didn't go on the floor. And then I was always watching because you could see them looking. They were looking at what you were doing because it was radically different. You know, they're fishing a little stick, breadstick, or maybe a little bit round it and stuff like that. So I'm actually, and then one of the boys come round. I put the bucket on, washed the thing, and made sure there weren't no seeds and they weren't then stuck on me. But I couldn't take the smell of aniseed off me. You know what I mean? It was like,
oh no,
Jim, you know they don't have bait in here. I went, yeah, I know what you mean. I think I might be doing this at the right time. Didn't say what I was doing, and there weren't no funniness. And he went away, and and I said, I'd done the same thing at Fenner. I had 3 in the night, right? And there's another natural lake, don't have it, and all the rest of it. So I had a new edge, right? Anyway, he went away. There's no problem. Anyway, I got 20 kilos out there, and put 2 rods, one on it, one off it, and the hook bait was 2 barrel-shaped sauce bottom baits on a long hair.
Okay.
This time, no, a 5-ounce inline pair, but fixed to a 18-inch hook link. Long hair, real long.
Hook length material? Has that changed?
What's that?
Stren? You were Stren before?
No, this was a coated one. So what would it? Mantis.
Mantis, yeah, Christ.
Yeah, I think it was Mantis, actually. It wasn't the other one. It was the newer version. Anyway, as soon as the traps are set, as soon as I'm happy, even today, you know, I like a gin and tonic or a tin of beer when I'm fishing, just to chill out after repaying yourself. You know, I could walk miles in a day, drive 100 miles, you know. So when I'm happy, then it's the next part of the adventure, which is having a drink and then whatever you want to eat. So I'm sitting back there thinking, and then all of a sudden my lines are going, they both go, and I'm putting the rod tips down under the wall. I've got these massive 3-ounce perspex bobbins on a monkey climber, and it's like they're getting lifted up, and it's like all of a sudden I've got to take straight away, like 7 hours, 6 hours.
After you've absolutely spun the life out of it.
Yeah.
Spotted, sorry.
Yeah. I see, I don't even use a bloody, I say them. But anyway, I've got this carp on, and then my reels just seized up. Gone.
Oh.
And I just had them serviced. And it was like, well, the only thing I could come up with, I got it serviced somewhere else, and they said it wasn't serviced properly. So anyway, I did have 3 rods, so I put out another 20 kilo, didn't it? No, I just cast that rod back out, another rod, because I needed another reel. I didn't put no more bait out. Middle of the night, I caught this common, spawned out, 28 pound, just before first light, say an hour or so. Anyway, done the pictures of that, nothing. I then had a magazine feature with ACF, and Martin Ford come down then.
Good old advanced carp and Martin Ford.
Then I've done that. Then I've done a big carp one. But anyway, the next day, I put another 20 kilos out. No real showing anymore, but liners.
So would they show it, apart from that one fish that you saw at the start?
Right at the very start, before I started, showing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then basically no real shows. Maybe an odd one at night, I seem to remember. It's a long time ago now. And I put out another 20 kilos straight after a mag feature. So I've just done that. And you don't think you're going to get a bite quick, do you?
No.
Well, anyway, you know, it's quite sociable. Don't really do it too much these days, but I went for a little walk. So the rod had been out maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah. And I used to fish I think they were microns,
Yeah.
Fox
microns.
MX. That's it, MX.
MXs.
They're loud as hell, aren't they? Blue LED. And it just went bleep. And I'm about 250 yards off my rods to talk to someone. No, I wasn't.
No.
Anyway. And then it just screamed. Like total flipping meltdown. It's gone. The car is just screaming. I'm running. I get so far and I thought, do you know what is the point? So I just walk sort of fast, because if I run 250 yards, I'm going to be knackered and have to play a carp. So anyway, I picked the rod up and I'm playing this carp. Not snagged up, nothing, no weed, nothing. Everything's coolio. So boys all gather behind me, you know. Amazing again.
Jeez, yeah.
I know I've got something big on the end.
Just by the fight?
Yeah. Slow. The curve in the rod. Just the way I couldn't really do a lot with it. Felt like a swimming pig. Anyway, a bloke called John Pack, he stood slightly up behind me, right? And it done let's call it a swim by the fish, right? He said, "Don't fuck about, Jim." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You don't want to know," like that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. And he put the glasses on. Then I saw it. He put his glasses on mine. And it was like, oh, shit.
Oh.
Now, you can imagine a 60-pound carp. I don't know, is it that long, sort of that deep, about that wide? It's got a head on it like you don't want to know. There's no mistaking it. It's not like the friendly mirror or the long common. It's like a pig.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Jim, don't mess about with this now, mate." You know, it was quite calming, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, he did quite. I knew, and I was like praying to the carp gods that it was going to happen, if you know what I mean. You know, I was going to land it. You imagine it comes close to the net and you're seeing, what was my PB? Oh, yeah, 52. But it's like...
Was it Mary, your PB?
Yeah.
For this? Yeah.
But it's another...
£10 bigger.
Near on. And all of a sudden, it's in the net and you just look down and it's like...
What? You can't take that in, can you?
No. And he turned around and he said, "You know what it is, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah." We weighed it and it was 61.4. And it's from what I got told, it was never smaller. It's always bigger. But it was smaller. 3 ounces smaller. Should have pushed that 4 ounce lead up its bum or something. You know what I mean. So, you know, we got on.
Is that a real significance for you, the weight of that fish?
You're asking me a totally different thing here. Look, British records come and go. They don't really mean anything anymore in my world.
Then, in your head?
No, it's all about the county. Catching carp from county. I'm not quite sure, but I think of just about, I hold that one.
Yeah.
You know, stand to be corrected, but we did try and work it all. It's well over 10 counties now.
What, that you've had 40s in?
40s from, yeah. So, to that question, that's how I answer it.
Yeah.
I like that part of it. But when you've got people that, oh God, he bounces his scales, and look, I find it really bizarre, because if I was going to profit from a capture, surely that would be the one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, British record, what's 4, 5, 6 ounces?
Yeah.
Half a pound, if you want to call it. We're going to stoop to their sort of level now. I find it really bizarre, you know, that, I mean, for an instance, you take I remember when Terry caught the dink out the road lake, and then I think he caught it in February and I caught it 6 weeks later, and it was £40. I can't remember in ounces. Oh, he's done the scales and all of this, but they don't actually realise I was filling this corner in March with 20 kilos of Scopex squid.
Yeah.
For about, I was 4 or 5 weeks. So, you know.
He's going to pack it on.
It's like you. If you go and have a kebab now and that kebab weighs a kilo or half a kilo,
yeah,
you go on the scales, you're half a kilo more.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. I do find it really bizarre, but I sort of look at it all now as the one thing they can't take is that fish was in my fucking arms. You
Yeah.
know, and that's it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, you know. But to catch that carp, hold it up. What you got to remember: first trip, second day. You know, 2 days in, I've had 3 bites, 2 carp from a notoriously hard. And I'm not knocking it or anything. It was hard. I was there, right time, right place, doing the right thing. So I really wanted that shot of Terry holding that long common with the wind going through his hair. It's like an epic shot. I really did want to catch that one. It's like its face was mental.
Yeah.
Some of the carp in the wall pack looked like that. And when I left, I written out, I'm not coming back in the logbook. But that night, I bought all the drinks, and it was World Cup night. I had a TV in my swim. I don't watch football. Got no time. I'll have to drink. I was just like, yeah, you watch all that in my swim. You know, you're all right. Tin of Maltese Joe. He put 3 crates of Stella in the freezer and the cases. Sorry, in the freezer, and I put a case of White Lightning. And in the morning, my phone, it was 200 and something odd texts on it. That's when I used to communicate with people, and well overseas. You know, I just couldn't believe who I was hearing from. Yeah. Oh, Jim, I got your number. And it's like, how the hell did you get that number? Do you know what I mean? And I drove out of Kent with the biggest smile on my face. I could have been a lifer there, you know what I mean? Because
for that fish, definitely, mate.
You know, it weren't an easy one. If I had the choice, I probably would have liked to stay there a year, try and catch some of them other ones. But, you know, the biggest carp in the land, you've got to go, you know, or play the ball when it's just come out, maybe have a go. But I had other things to move on to. So
that's incredible. How many weeks are we talking from when you've started on there to when you've caught that?
First trip.
So literally but you looked at it before that? Have you been round it? Like literally you landed there, saw that fish, trip, caught one, and then caught the big one?
Yeah.
That's madness.
So when I do tuitions,
I thought you'd been up there, scouted it out.
No, and I talk to people, and I just say, look, find them, cast to them, bait them, catch them. Okay, there's several scenarios that go with that, but it's easy, you know. We can all camp and we can bore them out, but surely it's better to hunt them out. And that's what I like. Probably save my carp fishing. I love hunting carp. I love watching them, finding them. You know, I was more of a camper then.
Yeah. You had the time to do that though, didn't you?
Yeah, but I've got that time now, but I don't want to do it.
No.
I get bored even when I'm catching.
You get bored?
Yeah, just get bored. I want to go and hunt them again.
So it's that chase then, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've seen him do? You must have observed loads of random crazy stuff. Jesus. I've watched them come into rigs and seen other ones come in and sort of like nudge them away, and then it goes, like some sort of communication. I've seen that happen. I just love watching them chill out and they don't know you're there. You know, and you're in their world watching them, and if it's that one, you know, you probably know I like a bit of poaching and that. I haven't done it for a couple of years now, and I love finding a mission, and you sit there looking, and then you plan your attack, and it's like you catch carp that I'm not saying haven't had a hook in them, but some of them haven't, and you know, they're not known about. I done a project and 2 years ago, and I had 69 carp in a spring out of it, only mostly doing days, short hours. Days.
And I don't mind saying now it's a trout lake.
Yeah.
And you're catching these mirrors were rare. It was commons, and I only caught 4 mirrors, and the 2 big ones, 35 odd and 36, were like
worldies.
Maybe that's another story for another time. But I did catch a common weighing 46, 10. I love it. You know, just the nature, the buzz of hiding and potentially getting caught it's like crack. It's the only way I can explain. You're just off your head. You're hiding. I've taken Elliot a couple of times on a typography film, and it's just mega, mate. You got people and they're like close, and they don't even know you're there.
But you like that. That is the element that you like. That sort of secrecy. That
you might be
of,
laying there and like some wildlife will walk past. You don't even know you're there.
Yeah, mad.
You know, the hiding, the building of a place to stay and live in. You know, actually the cutting of the swim and mate, unbelievable.
Boy Scout business.
Epic buzz. I'm looking at a few projects now. I'm not sure. Don't know whether to go that way or actually go abroad. I might be going abroad as well. I know I am when I'm allowed to. Yeah.
Shelley on tour.
It's too busy here. I just need a different direction.
There's a lot of potential projects across the channel, mate. Isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. So
watch this space.
You catch that one, and then the last part of the jigsaw is the Black Mirror, isn't it? The mirror.
We've got Fen. We've got to talk.
You want to go Fen? You want to go Fen first?
Just because. All right, Rasbury is Rasbury.
Yeah.
Mary is iconic. There's other people targeting it. Collingbrooke, two-tone, similar. It's different to what you're saying there on your missions. Yeah. It's a known fish.
You want to save the best till the last, don't you?
That's
what you want to. Yeah, okay.
And
why didn't you just say that?
Fen, because I like to waffle, Jim. Fen is a different chapter because essentially it's the unknown, isn't it? It's not necessarily known named fish. It's a bit of mystery, isn't it?
A lot of mystery.
Talk to me about how you clocked on to Fen and how you went about locating, targeting them.
Well, how I've heard about Fen, there was a chap called Dave Thorpe who I learnt a great deal with a lot of years ago at Waveney Valley Lakes. Used to sit with him in the pub, the Whitehall Bell, and he used to like show slides, you know, just like you're sitting up there drinking pints of beer. He had a little projector and he used to show you things. Anyway, I learnt a hell of a lot off that bloke, and cheers for that, mate. Even though we did fall out in the end. I think we're all right now, though. But
just give him a call after, make sure.
That's another story. But he spoke about this place, and it left like an everlasting memory. I never forgot Fen Drayton. So anyway, we're going where a lot of the people that are going to listen to this, you know, we used to have a close season. This was going to be close season abolished. So me and Marky are like, where the hell are we gonna bloody go? Anyway, some random thing, a bloke called Andrew Seeley, right, said to me, put it back in my head about Fen Drayton. It's open, Amy ticket. So I said to Marky, should we do it? 90, 100 acres, mind blowing, you know, unknown. Yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So we had a go. We did see fish, got the ticket. The locals did not like us on there one single bit. There was 3. They thought it was their lake. And there was another one. There was like a little crew of them. We used to call them Bill and Ben and Uncle Sam. And it was like Mother, Papa, Uncle Joe, that sort of thing. It was like something from, I don't know. I've never seen nothing like it.
Really?
Yeah, these people. And that was like a mother and a father and the 2 kids fishing and whatever it was. It was bizarre. But it was these 2 cliques.
And they did not like you?
No, they didn't like, no.
What in what way?
Too high profile. Because I was in the magazines a lot, you know. Angling Times, Anglers Mail, you know, always give them stuff. And then Advanced Carp Fishing, ACF, and Total. So, like, media horse shit, you know what I mean? Brilliant. So, you know, they're worried about me
blowing it up, to the masses.
Anyway, I'd heard no, I didn't hear rumours. I knew it had done a £40 mirror, right? And it seemed quite a friendly one, but it was what else I was being told and what I'd heard from Dave over the years, and all these old school names had been there. Okay. So, like I said, it had left that everlasting sort of memory, and I'm there. Anyway, didn't have a boat. We've done stupid things as well, like lolling out in March with the lead in the mouth, face mask on. You can imagine how cold that is, yeah?
That's freezing, mate.
Right, and we're going out 250 yards to the centre of the lake. No life jacket.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah, I know. Right, but we don't do that now.
No.
Right? And you look over the side and drop your rig down. And I can remember in the morning we're sitting on quite a famous swim, what I named, called Clubber's Point. And it weren't because it was club, anything like that.
No.
It was because a bloke was called Clubber. Anyway, we're sitting there in the first morning, the showing. I've got them showing all over me. And because we used to have so much banter and there was no animosity, nastiness, I never, ever fell out with Mark. I said, you're going to blow, mate. I'm fucking having them. And the furthest, look, we'd have snides. There could be snides on another lake behind us.
Yeah.
That's how it was. But we had 8 rods out off this point, right, all dotted around. And the furthest rod from the shows, which was Marky's, melted. Anyway, he caught this common. I think it was 18 or 19 pound, and it grew into a 40 pounder called Olive. So that was our first and only bite. And then I caught one just before I went back to Rasbury. And it was like a 17, 18 pound common, but I'd seen them in the spawning bay.
You'd seen them.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Big girls.
Yeah. So anyway, the following year, we used to meet up, go our own ways, because Marky carried on at Rasbury, but in the winter we'd catch up.
Yeah.
Right? And fish local, Norfolk, Suffolk waters, and, sit there smashed out of our heads. It was mega. It was just mega. Listening to the trance tunes, like speakers on the back of the headrest, just like pumping it out, flaking it out. It was brilliant. Rods were out. It was like, it was just great. People might snarl at that or whatever, but I'm sorry. It was a part of my carp fishing. I got no regrets about it. I loved it. It was brilliant. Anyway, we've gone back there, and I think I'd done the first year before I caught it was something like 90 something nights. Right, so it's a real lot of fishing. All right, a real lot of fishing. I never got close until basically went to Rasbury. Right, went back to Rasbury. So the following year, I had that knowledge where they're going to be. They're going to end up around the spawning bay. Now, over the years, everyone's fished in the spawning bay. They don't live in there a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They do come in there after spawning and just lay up in the weed. It was about half an acre. It was never no fishing.
Yeah.
Right. We just used to, if you could imagine, it was like a horseshoe shaped. And then right in the middle, there was a channel that went into the bay. And then there was this spawning bay.
Yeah.
So you'd have rods out the front, not far out, and then normally 2 out the front, 2 in the back, whatever worked, But there might be, the 2 out the back might be one there, like that for little bow goals. So anyway, that period of time, I was doing a lot of bait rolling, and I was because I was close to a result, I'd not gone and rolled bait. So I had a bloke called Kenny come down on a guest because I was running Fendraiton then. And I'd laid in. I was absolutely smashed. Not from drinking, just tired, being up and all the rest of it. And, I don't know if you've ever felt this, someone's there.
Mm.
But they haven't woken, but you feel someone's there. What are you doing? Oh, Jim, I've just seen the biggest carp in my life. And I went, what do you mean? He said, come here, I've seen it loads. It's going in and out of the bay. Really? So anyway, he said max 7 minutes. So anyway, we went and stood there, I weren't expect. I thought I was going to see a
20.
a mid-30 or something like that. Oh, this fucking great thing went past. It was it could be £50. So anyway, he's fishing. It's he had to go that morning in a few hours. So I said I was going to go. Do you think I went?
No, you didn't.
No. Right. So anyway, all of my attentions have moved to the area where I kept seeing it a lot. So all the rods coming from there, and then I probably had 4 rods in the thing, but I had 2 in a certain area. Anyway, I was fishing B175.
Yeah.
Right, popped up off the lead. The hook bait just popped up off the lead, and I mean, that's something else I thought about doing recently. But anyway, that's something else. I got a take. Anyway, I'm playing this fish and it fell off, and it was like, and I thought, oh no, which one have I lost?
Yeah.
So I've gone around. By that time, I've seen a massive common in there, and there was this mythical common called the stripy common. They used to call it the zebra. So I'm now seeing it, right? And it's like, that's £50 plus all day long.
Oof.
Right, you imagine seeing that. And I've gone around, that's right, that linear, that big, and that looks all right. I don't know what I'd lost. So anyway, put the rig back out, lost another one.
Why were you, what, just hook pulls? Or?
This time the line broke.
Oh, no.
So anyway, I checked the line on this, and on this rod, it was snapping. It was brand new. It was die-hour sensor. I reckon I could snap it at £5.
Oh, mate.
So anyway, what I had to do is I stripped the line off one of the things, and then reeled it back on. It'd only been on there that spring. Reeled it the other way off, so like the bottom part would be at the top now. You know what I mean?
Fresh lines at the top, yeah.
But I had a plan, and that plan was if I got another run, I was going to go and swim out there and catch it. You know, like just stand there with the rod, not play it like that. I was just going to
chase the fish down.
So anyway, the net's all in position. I got a bite. Anyway, I've just jumped straight in the lake in my pants. Right, I'm playing this. I don't want to. I'm just like praying and all the rest of it. Anyway, this carp went past, and I just see the scales glistening. They were really golden, and it was all lit up because it was like end of May, June, probably June time, gin clear water. And I just thought, oh, fuck me, I got it. Anyway, after a tense battle, I landed this carp. There's many stories. I'd blocked it off, done all of this and done all of that. Anyway, I used to get on really well with the late Kev Green.
Yeah.
And I rang him up straight away. He's like, Kev, he's only angling, I was only down the road, Peterborough way. So I said, look, I've got this monster. I don't know, it could be £50. It's flipping huge. Do you want to come do the photos? Yeah, Jim, I'll be there straight away. So meanwhile, I've weighed it. I've sacked it up. I'm waiting for him to come. He probably took about 50 minutes to get there. And it was £48 of unknown carp that had only, I found out later, had been caught once at 36.
Ooh.
One known capture, never caught after. I did see it several times over the next 2 years. It was really bizarre how a carp could disappear for, like, never be seen, and we had boats, and then all of a sudden, as soon as I've caught it, we're seeing it. But anyway, Kev Green, bless him, he come down and done the pictures for me, took some awesome shots, front cover of the first book, rightly so. And he reckoned before, or by the time he got back to the office, Angling Times, he'd had a call saying that I'd caught an unknown £48 linear and I'd just sold it for £2,000. And Kev was just like listening to this, and he said, hold on, mate. Basically, this is what he said. He said, well, I've just done the shots for Jim and I've watched him release it. So can you see?
Yeah, I completely understand.
You know, and I think, you used a word called jealousy, and maybe you are right. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Animosity, jealousy. I don't know what it really is. I'm jealous of no one. You got a fit bird, nice house, catch whatever you catch. I don't really care. Good angling. Doesn't bother me. But I suppose there is people that it does destroy them,
But I think also, we talked about this, it's going slightly off topic, but we talked about this before in terms of there was a period of time before you did Sipography with Elliot where people believed a lot of these rumours and they sort of had a picture of who you were and what you were all about. And that picture you didn't always reflect in terms of giving it back to that. So they just believed that the hype to an extent, didn't they? You've done a bit more recently, media-wise.
Yeah.
And I think, as you say, people now really sort of understand a bit more about you, mate, don't they? Because you've done...
I look at it like this. I probably got dyslexia. I don't bloody know. Back in the time when I was at school, they didn't do anything about it. You just went. Well, I ended up going fishing most of the time. You know, I got no qualifications, got nothing. Just used to sit in the exam, so I didn't have to pay for the wasted whatever it was, table and all the rest of it. And I suppose, you got someone having a go at you and you can only sort of write fuck off and all the rest of it. That's your only communication. That becomes a problem, doesn't it? You're almost like frustrated, I suppose, but I didn't really need to be able to read and write and all just communicate. Hello, fuck off, goodbye, whatever. Let's put it bluntly. Or I'll have a beer or something like that.
Yeah.
But, you've seen this media grow from like sort of like website chat rooms and all the rest of it, haven't you? Like RMC. And you've got these people that they just feel like when they're behind there that they can, I don't know, they can do what they want. I don't mind it. I call it weekend fishing. I love it. Some of the fun I've had at a weekend, like playing with these people, is epic. But I have got it, and I've been told it's not good for profile. So I remember, I'm not going to name this person, and he's been on this podcast. So we had a little ding dong, and he said to me, "But you never wrote your book." And it's that thing again. It set something in my mind. And I thought, you are right, but I can only do, and I've never hidden how I done it. I taped it, and then it was ghostwritten up by Terry Doe. And, right, I need to teach myself or learn how to read and write. So I taught myself. And by watching, memorising words and how they were written on a computer, on these like chat places and your phone. And in 2 years, I thought, I'm doing all right here. I can communicate more with people because I wanted to do it. So what I'm saying is that dyslexia, if you don't want to do it, you just don't want to do it. It's really hard. You have to have specialist help to like get in your mind to make you want to do it. I had a stepson like it, and now he's got his own job, apprenticeship, and he wanted to do it, and I put that into his mindset. Anyway, getting back to mine, and I thought, I've never written nothing in my life. I'm going to write a fucking book, but I'm not going to write it. I'm going to fucking publish it.
Yeah.
Which is, sorry about the swearing, but that's how close and how much it means to me.
What age are you, Jim, when you taught yourself to read and write? How old are you?
44?
40s, yeah?
41? 41? 42?
Play.
So, well, if you go Recut was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Right, 8.5 years ago, and 2 years to think me. So, 11, you do the numbers for me.
Yeah,
I'm nearly 55, so you imagine I bought myself a laptop. I've got to learn how to save onto a memory stick, all of this, but to write it. So, people who have had a go at me and all the rest of it about my first book being, I'm really sorry, never hid that fact. All books need editing and proofreading, don't they? Yeah. But I wanted to prove to everyone I couldn't just write a book. and I'm not going to take full credit of that because Jane, put a hell of a lot of heart and soul into that. And it took me 2 winters, and I set 2 winters of a year to write it, over 2 winters, sitting in a van with my rods out at Waveney, and a little bit elsewhere, leading up to December, you'd be November, you'd be wherever. And then I messed up. I failed by 3 days. It took me a year and 3 days to write Recut. And the book weighed 1.8 kilo, which we've just reprinted.
Yeah.
And I said I'd never do that. So we put that back out there this COVID lockdown. So, because people were craving for literature to read. And you imagine publishing a book, designing it, laying it out, working with people, graphic designers, and all the travelling, everything about it. It was mental. And, I'm not going to name names, but thank you to everyone that helped in that journey, from whatever it was, whatever small part to big part of it. I can't remember you all. I haven't got time to name you all, but you're all in that book. You're all named. And to actually, when you hold a book up and it's about that thick, that meant something to me, because there ain't many people actually got the balls to publish a book. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to that cost me 45k.
Yeah.
To publish that
all
book.
Your own, isn't it? Exactly.
Because I didn't make it abroad.
Yeah.
I made it in England. I didn't scrimp and save on it. It was all of the very, very best. The paper.
Yeah.
I had it proofread so many times because I was shit scared of people turning around and actually, look at that. I think Gary Bays found one spelling mistake, or it was a mirror was a common, or common was a mirror. That's the only. I can't knock that, because a lot of books you read them, and even I pick up something and you think, bloody hell. But when I held that, the sense of achievement, I never. It's like you. If you said, "Look, Jim, you can write now. I'll give you £1,000 to write an article." Right? I'd say, "Get lost," because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do that, and I've done it twice. Right? Because I've published. We still say this every time, we're never doing another book. I've got book 4 court. Yeah. It's sitting there for a rainy day. I've even said to Jane about, should we do no, we're not doing another book. No way. And I do agree at the moment, no, we aren't doing, but it's there. But getting back to that, the sense of achievement of holding that book, I've wrote that, I've published that, I've laid that out, it was all, I sanctioned everything and went through that, to the point I changed things. And,
would you say you were prouder of your captures or prouder of that writing that book?
No, it's a legacy, isn't it? So they're both together. I can't say one is better separate, because a book is made from the captures, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
so
story,
it's a 50-50 thing, isn't it? But to actually sit there and, when I went down to the printers, so I used a printer down the road 8 mile away. So I'd every Friday coming back from fishing, I was on it, mate. I was in there checking everything, making sure I didn't want that book to come out wrong. I could write a book about publishing a book. Trust me.
It seems anything you're passionate about, you are all in, mate. Didn't you? Partying scene, all in.
Yeah.
Fishing, all in. Book writing, all in.
And family life.
Family life, all in. Jane and everybody at home. Yeah, exactly. People
say to me about you're away from home a lot. Well, feasibly you can't travel 200 miles every day. Fuel is like liquid gold. It's just, you can't do it. You just cannot do it. So, but when I'm away. It's like, don't take this the wrong way, Hassan. But, I've come here, but I shouldn't be here. I should be with my wife. And the only reason I've done this today, believe it or not, because because she's got a part-time job, adjudicator at the DVLA. She had to work till 7:30.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, that's the opportunity, because if you can imagine, when I go fishing, I want to go fishing. It's like, yes, here we go again, right? And then it's like normally I do a tuition when I'm doing them. It's on a Thursday, so you start thinking, oh, I'm fucking going home, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it is. It really is like that. I've got 2 lives, you know.
But a good balance between them.
Yeah, you know, when I'm at home, it's all things family, you know. We have a great time. Going out, we just can't go down. We like to eat, go out to restaurants a lot.
Fine food, don't you, mate?
Yeah. I've just booked in a wedding anniversary at the Midsummer House. Daniel Clifford's 2 Michelin star chef. He's a good friend of mine.
A good friend to have by the sound of it.
Yeah. So we're going there in August, and I just hope we can do it because, well, we didn't go last year, do anything. So this year we're going to do it. And I just hope we can go on holiday again, didn't you?
Yeah, I think everybody does,
Because
mate.
just before it locked down, I was going to be having my birthday in the Maldives.
Ooh,
Yeah. You imagine that one.
very nice, mate.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, we planned that one for, 18 months, and then...
No. It'll happen though, mate. It's just time.
Do you
isn't it?
reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
Really reckon?
I really do. Yeah. I really do think. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening in this day and age. I don't think we need to go down there either, do you?
No, that's a bit of a wormhole, isn't it, mate? But back on to writing that book.
Yeah.
Do you think? Obviously, it was your own decision to go through the process of learning to read and write. Do you think, in a way, and how you are now, and the whole sort of opening up and being a bit more sort of media facing, if you like, do you think that was a big barrier with regards to you and your confidence in terms of socially, like just being out there and talking to people?
Yeah, maybe, you know, maybe I was raging inside. I don't know what word you would use for that. I can't think of the word I want, but almost like locked up. You can't do anything. Frustrated. There you go. Frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, but now I communicate with people. Oh God, I don't like Facebook. I've still got my account. I don't do a hell of a lot on it. I like a few pictures. I check the messages, but Instagram is epic.
Yeah.
You know, if I used to get 100% hate on Facebook, I'd only get like 1 or 2%, you know, on there. It's nothing. It's a great place to be. You know, I do like it, and keeping in contact and helping people, because what I don't like is people getting frustrated. I mean, there's words I would like to use, but I don't know if I should use them words. But they watch too much YouTube, let's put it, and they don't know where they're going. You know, they're frustrated again. Let's put it that way. I don't call it that. And they don't know where they, and we don't want these people lost selling their fishing gear or whatever. So, you know, it's great when you actually help these people and you give them an easy fix, and then they come back to you. Like, I get pictures and they send you a picture and it's like, oh, thanks, Jim, for that. Thanks, Uncle. Thanks very much, mate. You know, you've put me, and it's like an easy fix. But they're sitting there and they don't know what to do because they've watched all this stuff.
They're confused, aren't they? It's too much.
Yeah. And it's, I know people want knowledge, but sometimes too much knowledge is too much, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You know, and it's.
I think it is inspirational, mate. To sort of own that, to go from a sport which is very isolating anyway. Big carp fishing, you're spending a lot of time on the bank. You might have the social scene, you might have your mates, but communication with broader sort of spectrums of people, you don't get it because you don't see them. You're in your little bivvy and you're in your little world. To go from that to learn the skills to write in a book, which people who've had good educations and degrees haven't done, to then go to doing media work and being helpful, mate. That is inspirational. That is. At 45, learning to read, that's just mad.
Yeah.
So fair play to you, Jim.
Yeah, maybe. I know it's like, oh God, it's so hard to. I am happy I've done it, but I don't think I'm anything special by doing it. Do you know? It's hard to put that into.
No, but that's you, mate. You don't see. You just think you've done it, but it's a mega achievement, that, mate. Mega achievement. You should be very proud of that. Yeah, in terms of fend rating, so we're going to get reversed because I've gone down a wormhole with you, there, which was very entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Fend rating. You said there you've caught your unknown mega fish. Kev's done the pictures for you. Did your chapter end on there, or did you carry on?
I think we had 15 years of it, and it
in
was,
and out.
Yeah, running it, and I probably when Marky died, I think I missed 2 years. I just couldn't go down there. Too many memories. And I remember when I did go down there, I set up on Puffer's Point. And by the morning, I'd had single scale at 47.
Single scale, yes.
And that was like a welcome back. Nothing's forever in this life, is it? You get to learn that you just got to live life while you've got it. But, yeah, as I said, I liked a bit of poaching. I know I keep touching. I have to be careful what I say, but I don't really care now. It's out and about. Them reserves, mate. It's epic fishing, them reserves.
Really?
I got so close. I knew everything was coming to a head. I don't mind even saying, you've got a bailiff over at Ferry. And I don't want to go down a controversial route too much. But he was feeding them stuff. Sometimes I was there, sometimes I wasn't there. But, you've got maybe other people influencing that.
Yeah, of course.
So I knew I was on borrowed time at the end, and I had to catch one more carp. And if you look, front cover was the linear of the first book. The next book, it was the client.
What a fish that is,
man. So the third book had to be, I had to catch a Swavesy big one. So that's all part of the Fen complex.
Talk me through those captures. Talk me through the client and the Swavesy big one. Talk me through those fish. The client is an absolute worldie. As carp go, that would be, I mean, we're going to talk about the Black Mirror, but that would be...
I tell you, you're dragging it all out of me, aren't you?
The client, mate, what
you're on
a
it.
fish, mate.
You're on it.
Therapy, mate, is what you'd call it.
Right. I caught the client twice.
Right.
Now, how the client turned up. Oh dear. Do I go the book route or do I go the real proper route? And I said I wouldn't lie on it. So
you've got to go the real route, boy.
There you go. Right. Anyway, I had a bloke called Gary come on a tuition, right? And he wanted to fish Fen. He'd been with me quite a few times. And he just said, I wanted to go to Fen. So I went, oh, right, okay, fine. Meet you down there. Anyway, it was blowing. It's like the weather now. Would that be southeasterly, not northeasterly? But we have had them directions. And it was flipping freezing. And they were showing at 150 yards out, sort of like towards the back of the wind, not on it. And I was towing on them. Right, but nothing. I'd been there 3 days, nothing. But one of my little missions looking around, I'm always on the look. You think you've got several reserves around there to... it's getting closer.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
You got several reserves around there to keep an eye on. Anyway, I see these carp topping in this one, and I'd never seen anything in there. So I turned round to the bloke and I said, look, you can do Fen Drayton, but how do you fancy this? I said, look, watch. We were watching off the guided busway and they were just showing. I said, in all the years I've been here, I've only seen small commons and I've been in the water with them. I've never seen this before in my life. What do you want to do? Do you want to go for this or do you want to go for that? He said, no, I want this. So we're going to do a poaching thing, right? So we're sorting the gear out and guess what happened? What? We had a rare red-legged kite land in the car park and we've got to go through that across the guided busway. So all of a sudden you got all these twitches, didn't you?
Yeah, all descend on it.
It was, I think it took us 9 hours to get across the guided. Imagine like you've got one, that's to get it all across. So you'd start walking a bit, oh, there's another one, got to go back. Then you might have to wait an hour before it's clear to go again. Anyway, we got in there and there weren't no swim. I cut the swim.
Yeah.
And I said, look, you can have that area. I'll have that area, right? So anyway, we cast out and it was in deep. He'd stand on the guided busway and he'd I put a spom out, but with sweet corn and Nash amber attract strawberry, right? And the first spom went out with nothing. And then he'd go on the phone, no, too far, come back. And I thought, God, they're closer than I thought. So anyway, we got it back right. And then I clipped it and then just put a little bit of loveliness out. Then he come in and I was like chod mad then, chod mad. And 2 choddies went out. And then I put 2 choddies out there. His was into deep water. But on one cast, when I pulled back, there was some clay on the lead.
Right.
So it was a nice area to be in. He was bang on him. He was happy. I was there. Anyway, because we'd been up a lot, I'd been in that freezing wind and it does zap you for 3 days. I was really tired. Okay, I'd had a couple of beers, nothing massive, mad. We'd had a nice meal and he went to set his brolly up. I says, what are you doing, mate? It was May the 19th. I'll never forget it. I says, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He says, oh, no, I'm putting my brolly up. I says, no, mate, you don't put your fucking brolly up until it rains, if it does. Well, that night it was like -1, -2, -3. So we woke up, everything's white. But before that, in the night, he'd had this bite and it basically, he said, all I can imagine is say to you, Jim, is I put my chesties on, I'm standing in the and it goes 100, 120, 130. It felt like it went 150 yards before it stopped.
Oh.
And I went, you what? So anyway, as I got there, but I didn't wake up to the take. And I could just hear this Jim, but it was the splashing in the edge. And I've gone down there, he's told me all of this, and I netted it, and I put the head torch on, and there it is.
So what, you've had a take at the same time? What's
No,
going
he
on
has.
there?
He
He's
has.
had a take.
Yeah, he's in. He's playing a carp. Anyway, it's in the net. As I go down to it, I'm just so knackered.
Yeah, you've not computed.
No. And I put the head torch on, and you imagine seeing that thing.
Oh, my days.
He said, I bet you're peed off of me, Jim, ain't you? And I went, no, mate, I'm very envious, but trust me, I will have it. And it's only across the road, so I put it in Fen Drayton.
You see, you stick it across?
Yeah.
And then had it out of Fen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What a fish that is, mate.
Mm.
That is an incredible
You imagine having a
fish.
tuition and catching that.
I can't imagine.
And it was £40 on the nose. It was bang on 40. And it was just like, it's only across the road. Probably, well, we never actually got the photographical evidence that this fish had come out of Fen years ago at £19.
Yeah.
And that's what I got told straight up. Never see it, but it was a scaly one, just like all them special scaly carp in that Cambridgeshire area that come from Holland via the Woolpack. A lot of it, they were just special beyond belief. But that thing, there ain't many like that one, is there?
That is an incredible fish.
And then I re-caught it again a few years later. Well, when I caught it, we might as well talk about that one. All these captures does my head in. I wanted it, and I was going through a period of, I think I'd had 740s that spring from the Woolpack, some other places, and the client had been out, and I just thought, no, that's it, it's finished. Because it wasn't an easy carp to catch once a year. So anyway, I got in my boat, chugged along, all my gear's in there, and I just went for a look. And I was probably 150, 180 yards. I just thought, what's that? It was out near the island, on one of the roads that connect to the island. And what was it, May time, early June again? I got out there and it was all bream spawn. Carp. And I always have a rod ready to go in case I see him. So dropped a rod in there, right? Sunk the lead down on the choddy and laid it on the weed and a handful of Scopex squid crumb over the top, right? Went back, left that, dropped a marker as well, went back, put another rod out. Anyway, I caught a real rare mirror 29, which is in the book, before dark. And then in the middle of the night, do you know what? I can't remember. I'm going to say 2 o'clock. Might have been 3 o'clock. Might have been 4 o'clock even. I got this take, but it then stopped and there was nothing. I thought, oh, bloody bream. What it done, it crossed one of my other braided lines.
Oh.
So I went out in a boat, and if you can imagine, I'm playing a carp, but I've got another line attached to it.
Horrible.
And I'm only on a 2.5, 3 inch hook link because it was a juddy. Anyway, and it's like proper. I could hear the other rod screaming. So this didn't really register till I was out there what had happened.
No, of course.
And all I could imagine is I'm going to lose it. Head torches on, flash of scales.
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean? Anyway, it was blowing as well. So I had to keep the boat, like the outboard, at the wind. So you were like ticking it so it would just sit there. And then if you could imagine, it's all come up. I've got a line going wherever. And then I've got a fish in the middle of it. And I just stabbed it with a net in. And it's like that. And I've had to pull it round, get that, snap the braid in my teeth.
Go on, the teeth.
And then unhook it. And there it is.
What?
The client.
Like it's a night bite. It's an epic, isn't it, mate? That
Yeah. And all it was doing is feeding on the bream spawn.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. It was mental. I did have another one as well, a common, the next day, and then they were gone again.
Yeah, that
it's
area.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, imagine catching that, and I had a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc, and before first light, I downed it.
Yeah.
Well, not downed it, but I drunk it, you know what I mean? And I was walking around, and, I was in another world, mate. It was like, I've got it.
That is a special thing.
And that went on the front cover of that book. Was it Recut?
Yeah.
And the second capture, so it was 42.4, was it? And then the second capture, it's 46.7. And it was like the best I've ever seen it. I mean, there's a water shot you've got.
Mm.
Oh, my God, mate. I don't even know if that went in the book, that shot, but
Some fish, mate.
it was unbelievable. It's just a creature sent from heaven, mate. It was just so unique. It was a joke. And to catch it again, I'm not into recaptures, but my good friend Steve Alcott, he done the photos for me. And I was on the Carp, and we were having a bit of a social. Steve had come down there for a go. And if you can imagine, we're talking there, a couple of beers, chewing the cud about carp fishing and all the rest of it. Got a bite, lost one. That's you don't want to lose a fen carp. It's just not right.
Chances don't roll around every time.
You understand that one, don't you? So anyway, I've gone mad, thrown my rod, and I don't do that very often. Steve left with someone else.
Yeah.
And
Leave him
anyway,
alone.
yeah, in the morning they're all standing there, and the rod's gone again. And then I'm playing this fish, and it was like a very good 20-minute battle. And it was in a swim called the Bars. And in the end, it had gone right around a bush, and one of my mates actually swung the rod round, give me the rods the other side, and I landed it there. And I'm telling you now, the first battle was nothing, but to actually play that carp, fighting fit and no hindrance, unbelievable. I may not have landed at that time if
Your mate didn't swim it.
Yeah, I did have a boat, so I might have, but it's all hindsight in it. I don't know. But it was just that quick. He said, I'll go in for you.
Yeah.
And I went round there with the rods. And it was 46.7 that time, something like that. And then, I think this is what we say. We knew things were coming to a head there. There was talk like the PB was all changing things.
Yeah.
John didn't know who I run it with, if he wanted to keep doing it. It was an on-off relationship. I knew I had to get on with stuff. Nothing lasts forever, and I've said that again and again. I knew I had to get on and try and catch the one last part of the jigsaw, and Swavesy is probably the hardest place I've ever fished in my life.
Mm.
I've got mates on there now, and it's unbelievable. I don't know what the hell is going on with the carp, and they grow big, they live on whatever, and you're trying to catch a carp out of there. If you have 2, 3 in a year, you're taking it apart, and that's been there quite a lot. But I went over there. It hadn't been. To be fair, look, I'd heard rumours that it was alive, and it weren't alive.
Right.
That's how bad it hadn't been out. I think it was 5 years.
Jeez.
Right. I'd seen it. I'd seen it on the bank and all the rest of it. Stunning carp.
Yeah.
Still going strong now. 52.12.
Yeah.
I think it came out last November. And then the bloke, I apologise again if I get the name wrong, but Mark Pritchard, I think his name was. He was a local lad, and he was baiting Little and Often, and I was on him the first session having to go for it, and then he come on and they moved away into another area, and he caught common. He sent me the picture and all of that, and then he caught the big one, 45. It's like, oh Jesus Christ, another 5 years. Anyway, 5-6 weeks later, a bloke called Matisse, who I nicknamed him years ago, known him from a kid, he caught it for the second time. It's like, Christ, it's been out twice. Oh, definitely no chances there. So after a couple of weeks, I decided to go back and give it another. So didn't really like it. And I think the next trip back, I walked it between 7 and 9 hours, didn't find nothing apart from 1 or 2 bream shown, no carp. It was like so hot still, and then all of a sudden I'd come back, and then I bumped into an old mate called Dean the Roofer from the Wallpack, and all of a sudden he was a Fen member as well. This storm just appeared from nowhere. Like, I don't think I've ever been in a storm that didn't exist and then it existed. It was like black, then it just went into a, I think I'll give you some photos for this, into like the North Sea, and from no showing to hundreds of, no, I can't say hundreds, but it felt like hundreds, probably 100 shows, just jumping. And I'm just chasing and moving rods, single rods. And in the end, I'm just on my little GoPro when I used to do that. No, not GoPro, on my handy cam.
Yeah.
Doing my YouTube. That's a funny thing, isn't it? YouTube before everyone else was doing that as well.
Those blogs were good, mate. They were.
And then it was so loud, the wind. It was like, what's that noise? A take. I got a take, and it was like, oh Jesus Christ! Put the handy cam down, legged it. The last rod I've just put in on this fish with 50 round it, it's melted within, I can't remember, 20 minutes. Say.
Good old chod again.
No, it was on a Dark Side Snowman rig.
The dark side.
And the only reason it's not a rig, it's just a liner set up.
Yeah.
But because I chodded for so long and I went back to bottom bait fishing, we just called it, Jim, you've gone back to the dark side like that. It's just, that's how it happened. Anyway, this fish is just stripping. I reckon 100 yards.
100 yards?
Yeah, it's dumped the 5-6 ounce lead on the take, of course. And then it's just on the top floundering, like out in the waves, and the wind has gone from that way when I placed the rig, and it's blowing at me. So I'm playing the rod, but you can't feel nothing because you've got, I don't know what the severity of the wind was, 50, 60, 70, 80 miles. I don't know. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's come up, and I've just seen this massive mirror. Then I see the cluster of scales in the middle, and it's like, no way. It's gone. Did it go right and then left? And then I realised my net is 20 yards away. Oh, no. So I've had to undo the clutch, right? And it's in the waves, like
that's horrible.
Rolling in the waves. And these waves are probably 18 inches high. So I've had to go back, and I was like, you know what's going to happen, don't you? Or you think it's going to happen. You're going to go back and it's gone.
Yeah.
So I went back with the net, and it's there. It's there, and then it charges, does one more charge. And I just think it's going to come out, the hook's coming out. The hook didn't come out then, but when I put it in the net, the hook fell out. Oh. But when your luck's in, your luck's in, innit?
When it's in the net, mate.
And then I just look down and think, a carp that hasn't, I'm pretty sure it's 5 years. I'm pretty sure that was 5 years. I do stand to be corrected, but I'm adamant it's 5 years. How does a carp go 5 years, right? It's still been fished for and don't come out, and it comes out 3 times in 2 and a bit months. Mad, isn't it?
It's had a bad year, hasn't it? It's lost its head.
But what did it weigh? What did that weigh? 47.6. I messed up then. I should have called it a 50, shouldn't I? Sorry, I had to get it in somewhere. But yeah, you imagine like that's book. That's the front cover I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and then the boys come round, done the photos. The photos were all right, but when you do this is where it comes into the publishing of the book. But when you want a front cover, you it's got to be, you know. So my graphic designer was Brad from Total Carp.
Okay.
And I sat round his house with him and I said, there's only one thing we can do here, mate. We're going to have to cut it out. So we lifted, because this is when things get, you know, I didn't know all of this, but someone had told me, right? Yeah. But I didn't know you could actually do this till I was told. And I said, why can't we cut the fish picture out of there and put it in that one? And then lift the reeds out of that one and put it in that one. There was 17 overlays involved. So if I probably haven't ever told anyone that. And there was like flash on the belly, and we've actually taken parts of the belly and put it inlaid it in it, and then they brush stroke.
Yeah.
That took him, I think it was 17 hours to do the front cover, but it's out of 3 pictures. And when you look at it,
yeah, you wouldn't know, would you?
No, but that's how much attention to detail.
Yeah.
You know, I designed the layout, everything. It was already in my head. The only thing I couldn't have on, haven't even done the levers for book 3 yet. They still sit there, so I'm going to do them, but I haven't done them yet. Because I wanted scales, golden scales down, but that was too much of a job. Maybe I will get round to doing levers for carping after cut, but when you sit there and it's like, Brad, you've missed a bit. Your attention to detail ain't quite there. And I'm not picking at you, Brad. You've done a mega job, mate. But when you've got someone else look at it, you can just see something, can't you? And can you just do that? And you'd like send him a picture like on WhatsApp with a circle around it, you know what I mean? And then he send one back, is that all right? And then he send it like on a PDF, and then, that's it, done.
But that's you though, isn't it? You very much are pictures in your head, spots, things,
It's like rigs.
Yeah.
Steve Alcott says to me, he goes, your rigs are so what's the word I want? They're so 100%. It's you know, they're bang on. It's so neat and tidy, but it's all about that part, you know, and it's what I try and put in on tuitions with people. You know, that attention to detail.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, especially the last 2 inches, the hook part, the right rig. So, yeah.
A chapter we're going to talk about, mate. I think the finest carp that has swum, and definitely top of my list, Black Mirror, mate.
Right, the mirror. So it'd be the final part of the jigsaw, like a personal goal I'd set myself to catch 3 carp. Even though I love my missus to bits, I don't target carp anymore. You might find this a bit hard to believe, but she's never stopped me in my fishing one single bit. You know, fully supportive. She, you know, it's my job, my love, my passion, and all the rest of it. But I worked for quite a long time, about 18 months, saving money up, because I knew it could be quite a long journey, and I couldn't couldn't, what's the word I want? I couldn't allow anything to get in the way of the final part, to the point I said this, I might not come home for 2 or 3 weeks, and if it has to, maybe we need to say goodbye.
Is that what you said to her?
Like that, something like that, yeah. It meant that much, and she took it. She knows how much it meant. You know, I needed this. I needed to go there. You know, nothing lives forever. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said it quite that way, but I needed to do it. You know, it's when you've got something you really need to finish to do, it means more than anything. Maybe
That is a big call, mate, to your missus, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Maybe, I'm not smirking about it. It's like maybe I'm embarrassed about it. Maybe I shouldn't even say it on here, to be fair. I wouldn't have done that. But maybe when you can't communicate quite properly, you say the wrong thing, comes out wrong.
Yeah.
But she knew how much. She said, "I'm fully behind you. Just go and catch the bloody thing." Like that. I'd worked a hell of a lot doing tuitions, saved a hell of a lot of money where I could just go for 6 months. No, thank you. I'm just doing that. Now, where do you start? I wanted to go down there early, but we were suffering another cold period. I didn't think it was worth it, to the point when I was going down there sometime in May, a bloke had turned up, done an overnighter and caught it. Apologies again, I don't know his second name, but I think his first name was Rob. Good angling. So that meant, oh God, I've got to put this on hold now. So we're talking sometime in June. I don't want to waste time. Don't want to draw attention because it's a triple SI, you know. I was worried about people grasping me, being over there to stop me fishing it. And in the end, I remember what Steve said, you know, just get on with it. You just got to worry about catching the carp, nothing else. So everything was in place, to the point of scaling down your kits. You know, I had an Army Bergen, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Pop-up bivvy. A Vango pop-up bivvy, actually. That was quite funny. You could open it and it was like that round in its own little bag, about that thick, weighing a pound, maybe, I don't know. Weighed a kilo, let's call it. Weighed nothing. You just threw it at the ground and it just popped up into a bivvy. But the thing was twisting it all to get it back in. Oh, mate, a flipping nightmare. You know, so at the beginning, I can remember sitting there in the rat hole, like, trying to do it. It's like, no way. But anyway, the first trip come, I went there with a friend of mine called Daryl Style. Knew him from a Toll Pits days. I named him Darius. Anyway, we went there together.
Why Darius, mate?
I don't know. I can't actually remember that, but, you know, we met together, parked up in the lay-by by the roundabout. The funny part of that, there was a EA bloke and I parked outside his house every time. And he did see me and I thought, you know, that's going to pull some... No problem. So I've gone in there. The kit-wise, you know, the kit changed several times because Steve said sleep on a airbed. I didn't like that one single bit. You know, but we met up at that that lay-by, that car park, and we made our way across the road and then along, and then went in the Mere through the ski lagoon end, and we got to the bottom. There's a depth gauge there, and it's the wide end looking down, and you can see it from the M25.
Yeah, you can.
It's even more so at the moment because there ain't no leaves. I saw it the other day coming back from Rockford, and we looked out, we had a little chat, took a photograph, first go there, you know, first like sighting of the water. I had been there, I'd seen the Black Mirror twice in the flesh.
Had you?
Me and Marky went over there and done photographed it for Dave Malin second capture.
Wow.
And then Bill Dawson caught it. I went over and done the pictures again. And so, you know, my third encounter I was hoping was going to be in my arms. It's a bit of a tall order, really. Low stock, mega hard, got a reputation, you know. You didn't know if you were going to go back in your car, might have been burnt out. You know, there was plenty of glass on the floor.
Was there?
Where windows had been. I never had any problem. Anyway, we stood there looking out, and no word of a lie. You ain't going to believe this.
No.
Like, there's only one fish that'd be so black and so just jumped straight in front of me. About, I would say 100 something yards down the bank. So we made our way down there. I just couldn't believe it. I said, that can't be the black mirror, can it? And it must have been. Anyway, we got into this swim, what weren't a swim. I don't really know if it was a swim. It was, I don't know. Anyway, we doubled up in it. And we were like fishing round a bloody willow. Of course, we got there and we were sitting there and I thought, I reckon that's to the left where that was. And there was a swan. Black mirror come up right by the swan, like held there. So you can imagine, I've walked, say it's taken me 15 to 20 minutes to walk to see the lake. I've seen a carp show and I'm pretty sure it's the black mirror. I've then made my way round and within an hour to an hour and a quarter, I'm casting at the black mirror. And you're just sitting there thinking,
No way.
is it going to happen?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It could happen. Anyway, it didn't happen. You know, sorry, but it didn't happen. I had a shit night's sleep on an airbed. Never again. Never again.
What, just too soft?
And that time of the year, we had a cold period as well. The wind, it must have been easterly, I think, coming in towards us. It's Baltic. Anyway, someone I knew from my Yateley days, we don't want to ever go down that route.
He's blocked that off.
Mad Martin. Now, you know, we sit here laughing. We have about cutting up and all of that. That bloke's a psycho. Anyway,
Really?
I always got on with him really well. Anyway, he's a few swims up, been baiting in the mud. So he's on the back of the windish sort of thing as it's going like that, but he's there. Anyway, he caught one. So the next morning, I'm doing photographs of a mirror, 30-pound mirror. Wow. You know, you don't weigh it.
No.
It's like, well, it's about 30 pounds.
Yeah.
31, 32, 29, I don't know. We all just guesstimate. It's not it's not a real big one, is it? So you don't carry things like scales.
No.
You leave them for the day in the van. So I thought, we've seen one. So that was that trip. We didn't really see a lot more. My gear changed again. So I've phoned up Nash and got a lightweight bed. Oh, God. Because you ain't got all the creature comforts, it weren't very comfortable, but it was lightweight. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I got two of them sent. I had one stashed that side of the lake, one stashed that side of the lake in a bag. And then all you do is just bring your sleeping bag in the... It was mad even... Oh, God, like you think your food, you'd work out, I mean, for 3 days I have one coffee, so I need, let's say, 10 spoonfuls of coffee for a spare one. Sugar, it used to be brown sugar, 1 heap teaspoon, so you'd have 5. Every time, if you ever went out, Steve said to me, never come back without bringing something else in, like if it be leads, gas canister, and you'd like dig a hole and hide it. It's still stuff hidden that I never used it.
Stashing stuff everywhere.
Yeah, and when you like done your packing, it'd be like 5 kilos of Scopex squid that'd be in the bottom because it was the heaviest, and you'd work things out and build it all up what you'd need at certain times. So in the side pockets, and then Nash had done this little what was it, freezer bag, but it's square. So one story, there was like people had a go at me, right? And what I was doing, which we'll cover more in a minute. And I go, yeah, but I've got a T-bone steak. What are you eating? Tin, whatever, piece of pasta. You know what I mean?
T-bone steak.
So next trip, the bed chairs there's 2 bed chairs. Nothing really happened that time. Saw some fish randomly, just getting around, getting to know. You then realise you need Gore-Tex clothing. to the point you never walk round without wearing glasses.
Yeah.
You never walk round without your hands covered. In the end, I had welding gloves on, like right up here.
Was it that bad?
In places, yeah.
Really?
Especially the far side.
What, brambles? Just like literally
rip you.
overgrown and horrendous.
Several times when you get home, you feel, I've got a spot there, and Mrs. would dig a thorn out or whatever. You know, it was always biting you, having you. You know, unless you were one of the chosen few that caught it within a few days.
Yeah.
You know, you went through
the grind.
severe hardship. Anyway, it suffered. I tried to keep to an area like off of, I think it's called the southwest corner swim and the rat hole, where a lot of captures of the black men. I wanted to keep to a certain area where I knew it had a lot of cred. So I took the rat hole over, okay, but it was like covered in this eelgrass weed. It was, and I thought there's got to be somewhere out there. It's no good casting around. It was just like a field of green mush out there, 10, 12 foot of walk, because it was quite a shallow area, the part of the lake. So we got the boat out. I found holes, didn't I? So it was getting on quite late. So what I'd done is I got some weeds from a bit over there and I made markers. So I knew where they were, right? And of course they would just slightly sink a bit, but I knew this was on a Thursday. Yeah, Thursday night. And I had to go early Friday on this. I think it was the third or fourth trip. But we had to quickly walk back. Darius helped me, right? Because he was fishing with me then. And I think we loaded it up with around about 12.5 kilo of scopic squid. And I was sitting there like we put 20s, 15s out over the 3 areas, spitting them out. You can imagine I'm just chucking them in my mouth. Don't worry about, I'm just munching them, chewing them, spitting them like. And you imagine like you found 3 areas and you look down there and it's cleaned off. It's like, it's the pot of gold. Yeah. I'm gagging to the point, really, I shouldn't have gone home. But I went home.
Yeah.
Sunday, I roast dinner, I presume. I would have had roast, or I had dinner anyway. Got down there. So from Lowestoft to there, it's quite a trip. 2.5, 3 hours. Then you've got to get in there. That's the next part of it. To get to that swim, right, if I come in the first end, I'd have to walk the whole of 50 acres and then go round quarter because it was impenetrable along there. Right, so I then had to come in the back of the lagoon. And it's probably, I'm going to stab a number. It could be 2 miles, but it might be 1.5 miles just to get to the lake. It's probably long, 2 miles. I'll tell you something, in the summer, it fucking felt it because you got there and you got in the swim and you just strip off and you were like just sweating. And it's hard to explain. It was like being in a jungle there. So it was very humid in there. And if you had rain, it was like being in, I can only imagine like a jungle in, like
Thailand or something.
Yeah, it was just so hot.
Yeah.
Water was, you had to have water all the time. As fast as you could drink it, as fast as it would come out. Water, you'd stash water everywhere. You just have water everywhere. Because I've never fished anywhere where you needed so much like liquid. And you'd be like to the point, I need water now. So anyway, I turned up. But I got a new route in. And this new route was this. I hatched an idea of, I'm going to boat in. What am I doing? What do I want to walk in and kill myself for? So if you can imagine, you've got Hive Lagoon, okay, and one bank of the mere, which would be the really impenetrable part, and that's where the rat hole was. I could pull the boat right up behind it, and within 25 yards, I was in the rat hole. So what I used to do, believe this or not, I used to park up. There was the Indian just there, then a little bridge with a river, and then there was like a hop over, breaking the fence where you could go. And I just used to take my boat, pump it up, load my boat. It wasn't a lot of kit.
No.
And it would be there, you sit there. I didn't have electric. I was proper pumping it with one of them things. You pump it up, okay, put your gear in it, but you wouldn't leave your rods just in case someone saw you. It was hidden in a corner.
Yeah.
But you then drive down round the roundabout, park, and it was like 4 minute walk back with the rods on your thing, and you put it on the boat. I didn't row. I had the outboard on as well.
Did you?
So I just went across there. You imagine going across the lagoon's a fair chunk of water as well. You go, mate, it's like luxury.
Yeah.
Pulled up behind it. So I hatched an idea, if you wanted to walk, you could hide the boat, your kit in it, go for a walk. And if you thought, I want to be over that side, go back down that side of the lagoon and you just walk the hardest bit is unloading the boat, which is nothing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a bed, a rod holder, the little
Square
call box. Yeah, some, just nothing. And then you'd have to unclip the battery, take the outboard off, walk it across. So you're talking that in maybe 40 yards. It's nothing.
Rather than 2
and then
miles.
the boat in. So anyway, I got to the back of the straight out, cracked the tin open. Life was sweet, you know what I mean? Got the stuff out the boat, put the boat in the rattle in the swim, went out there. And, I was lucky. I probably had about an hour left of light. That's how late I'd left it, really. So really I'd compromised and stayed home longer than I should have. But, now you maybe understand when I said what I said, I didn't mean it quite like that.
Yeah.
The rods were ready to go. I went straight over the spot. Gone. Totally gone. Looked under with a face mask, like a goggle thing. Looked under. Gone. Cleaned out. A whole lot. All 3 spots. Oh my God, this is right. So I've got the little because the light is going, right? So you've got to act fast. So it's like I pulled the marker lumps up so I still knew where to go. If something went wrong, you might have had the braid or the line go through the prop and cord. You've just got to be prepared. So anyway, but with these, if you could imagine, it would be a 6-8 foot hole straight down. You had to lower the choddy in, because I was fishing chods, at the back, and then sink it down, right, to pop up to the top bead, so 6 foot away, and then let it go down and then bait it. And then put the slack line, and then you'd have to wrap it slightly round the weed to hold it. Okay. So you didn't pull it tight.
Right,
because you're going down at a line angle. Yeah. So I've fished slack and then up like that, tied it in the weed, right, and then gone back. Done it. Anyway, everything worked out perfect. Sat back. I just thought, I'm not going to hide in the swim Dave caught in the middle of the bramble bush, which it's famous for, the rat hole. I said to myself, I don't care. I'm just going to fish it blatant. You used to watch people go out there in the morning and you go, why the flipping hell are you going? So that, to me, that didn't really bother me, but I wouldn't do that. You're there you might as well, if you're going to get caught. I'm not going to go because you can only do nights. I'm staying there no matter what. Yeah. So I just bivvied up on the top. Just blatant. didn't give 2 hoots. Like Steve said to me, how much would you pay to fish the mere?
Yeah.
I said, a couple of grand. He said, right, that's your syndicate fee if you get caught.
Yeah.
So that's the way he put that all in my mind. He set that mindset.
How well was it policed then, realistically? If you're bivvying at
not as bad. But you don't know, do you? You might get a do-gooder. You'll hear about this in a minute. You might get a do-gooder, grass it all up, and all of a sudden it's being raided. But there seemed to be a lot going on about it.
And how many other anglers were on it at the time you're doing this? How many other lads are there?
Not that many, but in the end, it was like every swim gone. Yeah, that's later on.
Yeah.
That night, as far as I knew, there was no one else on. So my traps are sat back. I used to do this. I used to get this hot roast salmon from the World of Fish in Lowestoft. And then Jane used to cut me up thinly sliced onion and do a balsamic vinegar thing on it. And it was because it was in vinegar and the salmon was smoked, you could keep that even in the heat for 2 days, no problem. Yeah. So I used to have a little thing. I sat back there and I opened a tinny, and actually that's a lie. I've lied, right? It'd be a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc, right? Yeah, I was on the white wine then, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'd even carry it in a bag of ice. So it was proper. It wouldn't be warm, mate. It was, you come down there, I might let you have a little... and it'd be nice, cold. So I'm sitting there, beep, 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 beep. 3 rods, beep, 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 beep. They're just going bobbins off, lines shaking, rod tips are shaking, put the rods down, bats. I'm just thinking bats, it's bats flying. No, went beep, 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 beep. Anyway, what happened? They come from the weed and they spawned in front of me.
No.
So they fed and then spawned in front of me. And I was in awe because you imagine I was going to see the ultimate price, like close up and personal. And it sends shivers down my spine now, just thinking. I remember looking out and I just see this crop in the door, in the tail. Sitting it. And I went out there and I got close, but not close. I could sort of see it. It's about 18, 20 foot away. And it sort of moved. And it like noticed I was there. And it just waddled, I can only say it just waddled over for another look or a look. And it went round the boat all the way, 180 degrees round the boat, I'll say 8 foot, but it could have been 6 foot. Like eye contact was like, it was scary. And it was only like 2 or 3 foot under the surface. Did not flinch in the slightest. So I'm in the boat and it's just going round. I can't because I'm going to move. And I start to slowly spin round and it went straight back and sat there.
Not bothered.
No, put my rods out, stayed there, didn't do anything. Next morning, went out there, come to me again. Now, of course, nothing's happened. There's no spawning going on. They just done it that night. So if they did do it, I don't actually, if they 100% spawned. But the third day, no spawning, come over to me. There was no other carp there, just him.
What?
He come and done it again. And it was just like, the second, I'm going to swear again, I hate keep doing this, but I looked at him and I said, you're one cheeky fucker, mate, because I'm fucking having you. I am having you. And I can remember on that boat just going, I'm having you. And I wish I'd have taken, do you know what? I'm normally good with a camera. And I didn't take the camera out. Do you know why? I never brought the camera back. It was in a safe, right, in the van. I'd only take the camera if I needed it. Or I wanted to do some shots. And that was one of the times I regretted not having, all right, I've got it in my arms. Anyway, all of a sudden, the lake giveth, you've seen it, and the lake taketh. And that was the demise of the mere in the end, basically. Massive algae bloom, blue-green, stunk. I just carried on, relentless. Probably so. I reckon it was 5 to 6 weeks. I see a carp. And I thought, right, something's happening now. It was down the other end. I can't remember. I might have gone down there, but I don't think I did because I think someone else was fishing that area. Anyway, the following trip, I got back and I was just like fixated with the rat hole no matter what. It was like, and people were not really going in there. They were leaving me to it. So I felt obliged. I've got to carry on with it. It's the biggest chance. It will come from there at some point. We're now getting into mega, mega prime time. But I won Carp Angler of the Year, which Nash Tackle sponsored.
Yeah.
So I said to Jane, sod it. I really did play the game. I took her on holiday to Mexico for 2 weeks. And not really at the best time. I think it was half was August and September. So there you go. What I said, I didn't mean.
Yeah.
And you can imagine, she wouldn't let me have my phone. It was left in the car. And to this day, when we go on holiday, I've got 3 phones and none of them come. Right. They all get left in the car. And
what's the breakdown of phones here, Shelley? Come on. 3 phones. I've heard 2 phones.
I've got a work phone,
yeah,
a media phone, and
a media phone. That's the one.
Yeah, but we could call it. I like to call it a therapy phone.
I knew it was coming.
And I got a private one. You've got the private one. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't you give anyone that out.
But on this podcast at the end, of course.
And Jane took her phone with her. Pay as you go, old phone. So she keep in contact with her kids and that. And Steve had that number, and I said, Steve, for God's sake, if it comes out, please let me know. I need to know what I'm dealing with. So anyway, it was like getting into the second week, and I couldn't help myself. I got the phone, started texting Steve, and he was like, "You seen this bit going on and all of that?" And anyway, he said, "Ain't been out." I thought, oh, Christ, it's close now. It's close. You know, September, especially back then, was really, really hot. So anyway, when I got back, phones are all turned on, and no dinghy. Anyway, I text Steve. I think it was a Sunday we got back. Text Steve, and he was straight on it. No. My plan was to go the next day. Anyway, I got down there, and believe this or not, and there was 17 anglers on there. And I would say it was all because of some person put a date in his book, and it had been caught on that date several times. So everyone had turned up. There was even someone sleeping in the path, and he was like using a bait boat. So I've got down there. I'm not going to talk about this megastar. I've got no time to talk. Don't need to highlight his name either. He turned up and he said, is it busy then, Jim? And I went, yeah. And I phoned up Mad Martin. He goes, Jim, it's fucking rammed, mate. It's rammed out. No swim. There's even a swim down the bottom end that 2 people are doubled up in. So I thought, what am I going to do? So I thought, Jesus Christ. And then all of a sudden, the school teacher turned up. I can't remember his name. He's like the grass that used to have fishing rights on there.
Right.
So anyway, I thought, here we go. This is a sign. It's going to get raided. All these people, get out of here now. There's no point being there.
Yeah, Scarper.
Where do I go? So, Snake Pit. I thought, right, I'll go to the Snake Pit. I need that common, not the original, the second common.
Yeah.
And I worked out where they were. I think I had a couple of 20s. Yeah, I did. And then it meant I went home, had to go home, but then I returned straight away within a day. And I caught a real rare one. It's either right lumpy or left lumpy, what hadn't been out for 3-4 years. And then that night, I caught the Snake Pit Common. So that was the final bit. All I needed to do now to make the book a success is to catch the Black Mirror.
Snake Pit Common?
Right, so I caught that 40... I can't remember. 46, or was it 47? Anyway.
Mega fish.
Massive party, all the rest of it. A little thing I'd like to just drop in there. It had like a samurai sword, not from me, cut. It looked like a perfect cut in through the scales, like the size of a saucer. Like meat, scales, a lot. I don't know what had happened there. So I covered it in that Nash Medicare, that blue stuff. Yeah, blue stuff, iodine. And then that's why I've only got pictures of one side. And once a week, I kept dropping into Snake Pit on the way home or to wherever I was going, and put 5-10 kilos of squid in there to keep it in the snags to give it a chance to heal up.
Rest up and heal,
anyway, it did. And I've done that twice in my angling career with fish.
I'm guessing you've kept during this time when you're on the Mere, you've kept Snake Pit baited, yeah?
Yes and no.
Right.
Yes and no.
You're still relatively in touch with it?
Yeah. I did look and all the rest of it, you know. So I've got that part of the next book, right? It's one more part of the jigsaw. So that's commons that done. So I've finished that chapter now. I've gone home for a couple of days, straight back to the Mere. I parked up, but not the rat hole end. I'd said to myself, okay, so we're back on the Mere, right? I need to go and find them. But the last trip I'd done, which I meant to say, I'd heard a couple of fish and it sounded in my water, but over the other side, right. southwest corner swim, they call it, whatever. So I'd parked down that end. I walked round and you get near the swim, and it's where Malin caught it the second time. And I stood there, looked. I'd boated it many times. I'd seen this cressweed. I don't know what it's called, like the top of cress, but real short on the bottom. And it was There was a gully about 25 yards out, and I always remember when I eyed it up, there was like 2 tits, I called them, and in the horizon, like nipples. And I thought there was always something there. I eyed it up. Anyway, I walked along, and it was like a load of trees falling in. I can only say it was like 80 yards worth. So it was like quite a snaggy area, right? If they'd done a kite, you've had it. And then just before you go up to the hill, where you can look down and see the car, there was like a little bit you could go through under a willow. And I'd looked there so many times, and there was like a glide of sand. It was always dirty. But I envisaged them coming through there at some point. Why wouldn't they feed on it? And you know, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, you've dismissed the area straight away, and then you've gone, no, look. So I'd only gone a few feet, and I made myself go under the willow that was half fallen down, went in it. Shit, there they are. No Black Mirror, but 30 pound commons on the spot feeding. Whoa, they're here. So what I'd heard was correct. So what I'd done is it was getting on late. The sun's starting to set, but it's September. Maybe I had 2 hours left. So I quickly walked as fast as I could back towards the boat, drove it to the rat hole, unloaded it, put it in the mere, and then went up the lake, because I didn't want to go nowhere near that area.
Yeah.
Because I now knew there's a real good chance we're coming into a prime time to bag, especially that one. So I've gone up maybe 150 yards past the swim, but up the centre of the lake and then in. And then I've gone down the margin, and I've got to about 30, 40 yards away where I could get out, leave the boat there, hide it, and then walk my kit down. And then I just found out 3 joddies, on the 2 tits.
Yeah.
A little bit of squid round it, but there's a story here as well. I noticed when I tweaked that squid years ago, I had the rock salt put in it, and there was a period, it went white, but it went from a red colour, because it was Scopex squid red. Yeah. It went purple. But that bait, basically, when it started to go to the purple colour, had about 24 hours left. But it was the best. And I'd saved that mother. There was maybe 1.5 kilos in that bag that I'd refroze. Yeah. So I'd put it back to sleep. Okay. Anyway, I got it out, thawed it out, and I put that out there. And in the morning I got up, I'd heard a few fish to the right, but I'd laid in. Do you know what I'd even done? I don't even think I put this in the book. Maybe I did. I can't remember now, actually. I took a DVD player with me.
A DVD player?
Over the mere. So I got the battery out of the boat.
For the boat.
Yeah. And I'm in there and just clipped it on. I'm just watching. I can't even remember the film. It'd be some vampire cutting up thing, because I'm savage about it. I love it.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Cutting
yeah.
up and that sort of stuff. That's been a common theme today.
I would honestly think it was probably one of the Blade films, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm well into that. Anyway, I got up because I didn't want to make a lot of noise, right? And I wanted to be able to sit there more this time, and not. If you can imagine, you're close. I don't know if it was like a premonition. I knew something was going to happen while I bought it, or maybe just to break the night up or something. I don't know. Anyway, 10 o'clock. No, about 9:45. I thought, because if you walked on it, it was like walking on.
Right.
It weren't good.
Noisy.
Out in the lake, it's fine, but not when you're fishing close, and they're close as well. It was
How close are they then from where you've actually set up?
Oh, maybe 80 yards along the bank.
Yeah.
6 foot out.
6 foot out.
So
right.
you can imagine they're in them trees, isn't they?
Yeah.
I didn't want to go looking, didn't want to scare them. The ultimate prize could have been there, or something else.
Mm.
You've heard all the rumours.
Yeah.
Anyway, I couldn't. I had to go and have a look. It was just like eating me alive. I went down there, right, and crept in. I'd even put some crumb baits there. Nothing. And the crumb baits were there. It was like, oh dear, this is not good. So now I've got doubt. Oh God, I've got to pack up. I've got to look for them. I get back to the bivvy, right? And just as I go past the bivvy, Rod just goes, scream like that. It's the ultimate scream and stop I've ever had in my life. Just beep, beep. That's it. Nothing else. No movement. Nothing. I thought, what the hell? So anyway, I picked the rod up, and like I've always used Nash. I've always used Nash pursuits, and I picked the rod up and I've loaded it, and it's like starting to bend like, proper. I'm now don't really want to be exerting this much, but it's obviously something's happened.
Yeah.
And then like that. That was it. Put the rod down, put it on the rest, set the clutch, got the boat, took the battery up to the boat, put the life jacket on, come down, put the net in the boat, went out. Right. I didn't actually know that there was a weed bed to the left. And what had happened, he'd somehow manipulated on the take and got in there.
Yeah.
So when I got above it, it's like any weedy, not snag, but weed. It is a snag. You get above it and it just pops up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's an algae bloom, innit? But it's blown a northerly, and I'm behind the northerly, so it's going down the other end.
Yeah.
So it's you've got clarity of maybe, let's say, if you saw something 6 or 7 foot down, you could see it. You know what I'm going to say to you here, don't you? So I get over it, and all of a sudden it rises. Up comes a lead core, 8 foot lead core, something like that. Black mirror. Oh no. And then all it does is like took off on the surface, flat rodded me to the snags. It's going to the snags. So that's only like 20, 25 yards away. I've got the boat. I put the boat into full reverse and held on so it can't pull me, because if hadn't done that, it'd have taken me in there. Chances are I'd have lost it. So I exerted more pressure than I'd really want to do in that situation with such an iconic fish. And then it just come away, and then it just charged down the lake. And anyway, this high profile angler had just been round, and he turned round and he said, "Oh, I'm on him over there." And I turned around and went, "It's all show and no go over there, son." So anyway, he's gone back. Then it's Jim running around the lake. I'm just battling this fish out in the pond. I know it's a black mirror. I'm saying I'll never be a naughty boy again. I won't do this. I won't do that, please. I pray. It's the ultimate flipping prize in carp fishing. And it's the end of a
saga, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's like, please. And this thing is fighting like you do not want to know. Charges, I could not calm it. One minute you'd have it there, the next minute it'd just go on a mental run. I probably ended up out in the pond, 100 yards out in the lake, and the battle was 18 to 22 minutes, maybe. I don't know. It was just a long time. I know I just kept looking up and saying, Marky, please, let me catch this one. It's for you.
Is that what you were saying?
And it was like, when it come up, you're on a 3-inch hook link. I got a size 6 hook because
What hooks were you on here?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that on here.
Right.
I don't want to get cauterised, do I? No. And I didn't catch it on a corner hook. I didn't either. I had to do that. But anyway, you imagine the eye contact I had when I saw it in the boat. I've got that fish looking at me now. And it done one final go, but it flat rodded me probably 30 yards, and that was the end. I went to it, and I can't make it sound any easier than what I'd been through. It's in the net. I look up, I cry. I've never cried over a fish in my life. I don't know. I can't even explain it. No. I shout, I lose my voice, I can't talk.
What did you shout? Just a general bellow?
Fucking black fucking mirror! Like that, and I've ripped my throat out. I've just sat there I know it sounds all a bit corny, whatever, but I was in a right mess.
Yeah.
I caught that for Mark, that one. And, I can remember when I told several sponsors that when I catch that, I'm not putting no sponsorship on. I'm catching that one for myself and keeping it. And Kevin understood that as well. And I'm now going to pay Kevin back and give you the video footage as a thank you and all the rest of it. Oh. But when I got the fish back, I'm going to pop the hook. I'm going to touch it. It's like, I want to touch it. And it's like, I put my finger in its mouth. I've touched its head. I've gone down its side. I've just turned it in the net, and I've just like looked at it. And when you can look at it like that, and you see all them special marks and all the rest of it, it's like,
What a fish,
it don't,
mate.
and it's like, first person, what do? Get back to bank. The superstars in the swim, and he helps me out and all the rest of it. And I phoned Jane.
Is that your first phone call, Jane?
Yeah, I phoned Steve.
What was that
He's the next
phone
one.
call like? with
She's just
Jane?
like, well done, darling, actually. Well done, darling, you fully deserve it. I wasn't a life or anything. I was fairly lucky. I'd done around about 35, 40 nights, but it was hard. I had one bite, one fish, nothing else, to the point of, I'm not going to name names, but it was just a bit of fun. Jim, you haven't caught anything yet, mate. So you know what I done then, don't you? I texted him. I says, not 5 years, not 10 fish, no Black Mirror. First year, 40 nights, job done. And he just come back and he went, good angling. And I said, you lost a fish a few weeks ago. It's got a rip in its mouth, mate. But we still laugh about it now. I've seen him at Rockford. We still laugh now.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of banter, and he was like that. He's made up like that. But they're like memories you always remember. And you imagine, like, I left the fish with the superstar, and you can imagine he's in my chest weighted. I would have thought he touched it and all the rest of it. And I had to go and get probably a mat, set of scales, a camera, video camera. Because you just didn't take them things. That was just like, it was weight and things you didn't need.
Of course.
You're not catching even if you didn't, if you didn't, I can make a call. I need a camera, waist, scales, and all the rest of it. So you can imagine, I've walked out that way, straight up the side of the mere to the lagoon and the skeeler, and then come out, and then I'm just talking to people. I've got to the van. I've got a special bottle in there. I've cranked that bottle open. I've drunk some of it because I know I'm probably going to go. And I do regret I did go because I should have stayed on, but I'm more worried about it being raided.
Yeah.
Mad Martin said he'll come down and help me as well. So by the time I was back, Mad Martin turned up within a few, say 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Got the fish out. I mean, it's undescribable to catch such an historic, epic, rarely caught carp as well. And, I've seen it through twice. Well, I have seen it 3 times. The third time was me, and hard to hold it. I can't, was it 51.8? I know when I'm pretty sure it's 51.8 when he left. He hit 51.8. Fuck off on the back of my van. Do you know what I mean? But when I left, after we'd done the pictures and that, it was like I went down the centre of the lake and I shouted, freedom, like that. And I looked up and I went, that's for you, Marky. Went there straight down the middle of the lake. There was one other angler in the canopy, and I apologised because I pulled the boat out near him. I didn't know there was anyone else on there. And then the lake still bit me.
Well, how?
The attachment to the outboard broke. So when I pulled it all out, it wouldn't work, and I had to doctor it up. I can't even remember how I done it. And it's just like, you look round and you just like laugh,
Yeah.
And then I said to Mad Martin, I'm going to take you down Pat's Caff for a proper breakfast. And he says, you'll mag this, won't you? I said, I promise I won't mag it, mate. I'm not going to mag it. Right? He says, you'll mag it. I'll give you 6 months and that'll be in every fucking paper. I said, it ain't. The only time, apart from when I show the odd person, that people will see that is in my book, my second book, Carping Recut. And 6 months later, he sent me a message. He goes, fair game to you. You didn't mag it, did you? It's 5 years before that picture was seen. And that night, I drove to the Woolpack. Believe this or not, I got up a tree. and I was casting a rig out on a £50 common, but I didn't catch it. It was all clayed up as well. And I thought, could I catch another one like that quick? But I did do the following spring, 51, 4, I think it was. But, if you can imagine, I get people say to me, Jim, like, Christ, you caught some fish. Sometimes I don't actually realise, but it's been a long trip. It's, from maybe, 21 years from when I first caught my first 40-pounder. I've now had 76 English carp over 40-pound. I think 9 50s. I can't. I don't really care anymore.
No, exactly.
To be, I only set that small target of 10 and 3 to be them real special ones. So if I was to turn round and say, what means that achievement to me means
those
more than anything.
3, mate.
Yeah.
Are just, I mean, they're unbelievable fish, aren't they?
I've been very lucky, very fortunate, and it hasn't been it hasn't been easy at all, and it's been a long, hard fighting with powers in B in the industry, because I'm so outspoken, or was, to destroy everything I had or got. But one thing, this might sound a bit, if I have to turn round, jump out of a car, kill a cow on a field to feed my family, trust me, I can do it, and I would do it. And when you've got that mindset and drive to succeed no matter what, it's all part of the journey, I think. And I've come out the other side and I'm still here. There you go.
You can see it, mate. It's a mindset, a drive. All those words come into it, mate. But it is, as you say, those things don't happen one chuck. They're massive journeys and massive amounts of effort and everything else.
Think about that, like the fuel. We tried to work the fuel out.
Madness.
It was just under 50k.
Yeah.
I think that was 10 years. 50k of fuel.
It's ridiculous.
Working out the mileage. One of my mates' missus done it. So when you write a book, you get some money, but you're not really, are you? Just getting it back.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And it's all the time and the effort, isn't it? Sitting there like times and you're on your own. I'm lucky. I don't mind being there, but I wish sometimes, imagine if we lived in Cambridgeshire, everything would be so much nearer, and even the missus, we thought about moving to Cambridgeshire. We might even move yet anyway. Not to Cambridgeshire though. She could come and see me down a Woolpack.
Yeah. It's sacrifice, isn't it? Essentially is what it is, mate.
Yeah. But you've then got to balance it out, and then you've got to live that. It's like, I think now with what Elliot and the boys have done, it's sipography. They've shown maybe me in a different light to what people might have heard through rumours and that. And I suppose I've got to take my hat off to him for doing that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because he tried, like you tried to get me, 18 months before I give in.
Yeah.
And I like working with you and today, and I love working with Elliot, and the boys. And
that's a great series, that Hunter series, man.
I just try and give real fishing, and I don't try and, I don't know, like I said to you the other day, say things that didn't really happen like that, if you know what I mean.
You don't need to.
And I love helping people as much as I possibly can, It takes a lot of time out, but, everyone gets, I'm sure I'll get hundreds of messages from this. Everyone gets answered back, even if it's a funny, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. For you, and this is going to be hard for you to answer, I think, Jim, but if you didn't have carp fishing, what do you think you'd be doing? And if you didn't have carp fishing, what other aspects of like work or life do you think you might have gone into? What else is there anything else that even comes close to that passion that you show in terms of carp fishing?
I I can't answer that one.
No.
I can answer this one though. I'd have probably carried on slaughtering them in the slaughtering butchery game. I still haven't done it for a few years, but I used to go and help a mate at Christmas. Just go and cut meat up. You can hold a knife. You can hold a knife forever, and I mean cut meat and that.
Yeah.
So I'd have probably still be doing that in some way, shape, or form, maybe. A mate got a deer the other day, and he called me, and I went and cut it up for him.
Really?
I ain't touched a bit of meat for 7 years like that. You know, when I get a carcass, let's call it. You know, when I get my meat from my mate, I steak them all, I cut them all, trim them all.
Do you?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. So, but to do anything, I don't know, mate. It's a road, it's a path you take. You don't know where you're going to go. You just don't know, do you?
No.
You make a decision to go that way for some reason. Someone might say hi, but if you'd have gone the other way, you might have got run over.
Exactly.
You know? I don't know.
No.
Carp fishing as a hobby or fishing as a hobby. Now it's a job. I made a job that doesn't basically exist. You know.
You as a person, do you think you've changed, especially as you've come into sort of where you are now?
To my mates, no.
Yeah.
But to other people, yes. I mean, I say it as it is, you know, but on social media and that, I just find it's probably best not to.
Yeah.
You know, is an easy way. Like I said to Ollie Davis the other day, starts with a B and it ends in a D. Blocked. And he goes, you're right. You know, as soon as you engage, you just get pulled into it. It's just not worth your time. You know, I'm nearly 55 and at the end of the day, whatever time I've got left to breathe, why do I want to, waste it arguing with people?
Yeah.
Because none of us know.
No, 100%.
And that's the thing, you know, so I'd rather look at it, get rid of it, instead of engage with it, you know. So that's taken a long time. But look, trust me, I love giving it. I absolutely love it.
I know you love it.
I love it.
It's funny.
You know, it's like when we went out there and had a chat with the boys, you know.
Yeah.
You had another film going in there, everyone would be going, Christ.
That might not have made it to air, that one, mate.
Yeah. It's the same with Elliot, mate. It's the same with Elliot.
Yeah. But you've got to have that. That's good. It's good balance. But for you, I think you're, and I don't want this to come across like in a horrible way, but I think you're a lot more chilled than I thought you could be. Like, reputation is different.
Yeah.
In the flesh, you're very funny, very chilled.
As soon as I'm crossed, you're the enemy.
Yeah, I can.
You know, not many people get 2 strikes, definitely not 3 strikes.
No.
Yeah, I think as you get older, maybe you realise a few things. I try and think before I act.
Yeah.
I just try and get rid of it as fast as I possibly. It's like if someone shoots me up down a lake. What do you mean shooting up, jumping in the next swim or casting across it? Yeah, you know, I did it the other day. I'm on a lake and I'm facing in the corner. It goes into a point. There's a swim. Let's give it 30 yards away. That is like I'm there. So how are you supposed to share that piece of water? There's no one else on the lake. Right,
There's no one else on the lake.
Because it's Jim Shelley. Yeah. Oh, I'll go in next door. So he comes round, like I'm having a little doze. I barricade it because I do a lot of that. I just don't want people around me. So he's come in and he said, is that your gear there, Jim? And I went, yeah. He said, oh, I really wanted to fish there. I said, oh, where are we going to fish then? How are we going to share this between ourselves? So, do you know what I done? I thought about it. When I got my head together, I reeled in and went.
Yeah, went.
And by the time I got to the other swim, he was in there. And you just think, years ago, I would have turned around and gone ape shit.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, I'm not going to mince all words. It's savage. But now I've taught myself to say, these are the things. Look, Jim, you're not catching. It's a sign from the carp gods that you need to get up and move. And I'm telling you now, 8 to 9 times out of 10, it always catches me a carp.
That's a positive way of looking at it, mate.
So you've used a key word there. You turn a negativity into a positivity.
Fair play.
There you go.
Now, your drive, your pursuit, hunting, all that of your carp as prominent as it used to be? More prominent, you said earlier before, you think?
Yeah.
What's driving you there? Give me an insight into that, mate. You've caught those 3 fish, right? You've got nothing left to prove to anybody or yourself because of what you've caught there. What keeps you going?
You ain't as good as the last one.
Is that what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I'm under no pressure, and I'll answer that question like this. I'm under no pressure. But, you know, you've still got to catch a carp, haven't you? People buy books, media, tuitions. You know,
Yeah, there's the living side of it. I get that.
Yeah, you know.
I get
so,
that. But you still feel like you've got to up the ante every time.
I invest a lot of time and money and effort into pursuing these carp, and I live back beyond now. Lowestoft is the most easterly point in the country. Yeah. It's a shit place to get out of there, and I'm sorry I've said that. I can't help where it is now. So either way, I've got maybe 40 miles that way before I hit a motorway, and I've got 30 miles that way before I hit a motorway. So, you know, when I go, like, for instance, I'm just about to target Rockford probably for the last time. And I'm taking a lot of time out. Now, yeah, I'll go and have a beer with anyone. And, like, I get on really well with these geezers over there, and they get on well with me. And because I do my own thing and it's away from them, you know. So I'm not even touching the big chuck swims and all, because I don't want to do that. Yeah. I just sneak around the edges, doing my own little thing, keeping away. And that's how I want to be. So, you know, you get down there and, you're coming out down the pub for a drink. And it's like, look, please don't take this the wrong way. I haven't driven 255 miles to get pissed up, which is then going to cost you that time, a headache in the morning. So you're off the game for a day and a half at least, didn't you? So it's going to cost me about 80 quid in fuel to get there and back. You know, so when you add up your food, maybe 90 quid, you know, £85. I don't know with the new van. I haven't really worked it out. It's definitely saving me more money. But you then add your food to it, 40 quid food. So 100, you know, you're not getting a lot of change at 130 quid a week. And then your time. You know, you don't go that far.
No.
To, like, drunk. I mean, one time there was a party, I went down the pub. Yeah. I got to the 4th pint and I said, that's it, boys.
Yeah.
You know, I've got my rods out. I'm all happy, right? I'm not got a headache in the morning, but one of my mates fell in the lake just beside me, you know, and I thought, well, that would have been me and I would have been messed up, you know, and time wasted.
Well, it's an investment that you're making, isn't it? As you say, time, finance, the whole work.
And the thing is, you know, this is the other thing. I don't know how much more time I've got. I don't want to waste time.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's like this spring. I've wasted so much time when I should. But when you do a big, massive risk assessment, you know, all that time, effort, money, you know, and then the van, you know, it all weighs up, and you've got to go, no. But I can't hold it no longer. Tomorrow's 1st of May, is it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Can't hold it much longer, can we?
No, not at all.
So we got 2 bank holidays in May. So that means 2 weeks messed up. So I said to Jane, she goes, when are you going fishing? I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get my rods ready on Monday. I'm going to leave here at 12 o'clock. I'm going to leave here at 8 o'clock to get there at 12 o'clock at night, 12:30, because it's 4.5 hour drive. Okay, well, it's 4 hour drive, so you're going to be driving a little bit faster, no traffic, so you should get there in 4 hours, right? So I'm there at 12, so I'm going to walk, try and find out where I need to be. If I can get a swim, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, then I've got to do the thing I hate doing the most. Hello, not at night though, but when they're up in the morning. Oh, do you know when everyone's going or whatever? You know, it's not something I want to do. No. But, you know, you think on Monday night, then I ain't going to sleep sod all, am I? No, so I'll go without sleep for 24 hours or whatever it is, or 18 hours, like walking around trying to get, and then I've got 3 days. 3 days. And then on the following week, I've got 5 nights because I go on a Sunday. And then you've got to drive home. Then you've got to make sure that you're on it at home so you're not all miserable because you're knackered. That's why if you look at photos and the fish I've caught in springtime, like come the May, June, I've got massive bags under my eyes that hang down like that because I go through a period of sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
Right. And when I haven't got to worry about tuition, so, you know, if I've got a Thursday tuition, I'd have to be there Wednesday. I'd have to get a shower so I ain't smelling or whatever and find the fish, get that all prepped up, rigs tied, blah, blah, blah. So I've lost a day and a half. Now I go for, it's my time. I don't worry about, the only person I have to worry about is my wife. Hello, Jane, how you doing? Blah, 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 you know? It's my time. And I've got people where I would normally sneak a tuition in.
Yeah.
No, not this
That's
time.
all me.
I plan this.
Prime time is going to happen.
I would, you know, one of the boys down there, I popped down the other day. I didn't even fish the lake. I fished one of the other lakes, went back and then went to Woolpack, 618-mile round trip by the time I got home. And he said, oh, how many do you want? What you want? And I just said, you know what? I just love one of the bigger ones. You know, I'm not going to be greedy and we'll see what happens.
It'll happen, mate.
We'll see, won't we?
Yeah, you're a machine.
We'll see, you know.
Before you go, mate, and I massively appreciate your time.
You're going to ask me questions, are
I'm
you?
going to use some quick fire questions, Jim.
Really? Are they going to be nice, though?
Of course, they're nice, mate. I'm nothing but nice, Jim. Right, quick fire, quick as you can. You'll be all right with these, I'm sure.
Right.
UK 50 or foreign 70?
What? Proper
Which would you
English?
choose?
Yeah, English.
Nice. Bait boat or baiting pole?
Baiting pole.
Would you rather experience carp fishing 20 years ago
Yes.
or 20 years in the future?
20 years ago.
Dawn or dusk?
Dawn.
Never use a shelter again or never use a bed chair again?
Bed.
Be a professional angler or a professional footballer?
Angler. Don't like football.
No? Take the wages though, surely.
No.
Nah.
I'd rather have the Black Mirror or something like that.
Very good answer. Always torrentially raining when you're fishing or always 30 degrees and baking
30
hot?
degrees, baking up.
Would you rather catch 10 20s or one 40-pounder?
Yes. 20s.
20.
Proper ones.
For the rest of your life, you can only listen to drum and bass or country and western.
Drum and bass, but I don't listen to it. But drum and bass. At least it's got something to it.
In a bucket or dig a hole?
Digger. No, in a bag.
Would you rather fish a 2-week session without changing your socks or a 2-week session without changing your underwear?
And changing my underwear, mate.
Hook, bait, colour choice, bright or match the hatch?
Match the hatch.
Olive or camo?
Camo.
Last question. Date night with the missus or hit the lake on the end of a big pressure
No,
drop?
date night with the missus at a 2 Michelin-star restaurant.
Yeah, it'd be a proper date
Yeah,
night, wouldn't it?
proper, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go there afterwards. Fishing afterwards.
Nice. Jim, you're an absolute legend, mate. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. I know everybody here will. Please leave us a review. Make sure you subscribe. And I've got to get you back on
Yeah, 100%.
to talk about
Yeah.
your mindset chod fishing because you are an absolute legend.
Anytime, mate. Thank you for having me.
No, not at all. Thank you, Jim.
Hope I didn't give you too much therapy.
No, mate, I really enjoyed it. You're a legend. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you
Cheers.
again soon with another Nash Off the Hook podcast.